Ali, 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 yeah. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7. I praise Allah for these lessons. I'm striving to be the message, and I thank Allah for His blessings. Ali was the circle 7.
Islam, Islam, Islam. Islam, Moorish America, on the rise upon the 7th, within the circle of justice, mercy, love, and right, and give all praises to the great God Allah, Father God Allah, and honors to His holy prophet, honors to our holy prophet, noble Drew Ali, Al-Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali, that is. We give honors to our Moorish kin once again, here, there, and everywhere, and therefore honors to all of you who are continuously honoring yourselves by being yourselves. We give honors to our Grand National Seal. We give honors to our Grand National Emblem, National Flag, Divine Constitution and bylaws, and honors to all of you who are indeed a living manifestation and personification of everything that our holy prophet brought to make us a nation. I want to give honors to all of our family that's on the manifest, and honors to all of you whom are yet to come. And I just want to say that I got a grand drawing to bring on the manifest, and this is very important, and y'all already know how we gonna do it. We gonna bring this measure to the manifest, and let it be known that basically we got a lot of people that's disingenuous out here. And I tried to go here and go to the channel and look at the channel with this particular brother, because he was the one that was challenging our elder Walter Williams. They wrote a book, to stop the finances of our elder, dealing with the Metu being deciphered. And I think from a Kemetic standpoint of view that, that's not a good thing. You see, that's not a good thing. Because, this could be our elders' only means of livelihood, for one. And another thing, the elder is on point in a lot of what he said. It's an honor to have been on the panel with the brother, and demonstrate with him. And we share a lot of the same views. I had not read his work. I was able to go into some of his works and see, like I said, a lot of the stuff he stated is very similar to the stuff that I was demonstrating. Then you had the bouts with young Pharaoh and Seti. And I disagree with them two brothers on a lot of things. You know, I even got at Seti. Brother Young Pharaoh, I was on the panel with him, you know, when he had came back to the community recently. But we never had a conversation where we actually talked about certain things that I watched over the years from him and Seti. You know, that I could see that they were misinformed, even though most people thought, you know, that they knew exactly what it was that they were talking about. You know, me being seasoned and studied, I can look at certain things and see beyond that. That's why certain people that most people praise in the conscious community, I see through them. And a lot of them don't want to have a conversation with me, you know, based upon that, because you can't just run no anything by me. You know, when our people ain't really been exposed to certain things on an informational basis, of course, you know, it sounds real good. You know, you use a few fancy words and talk above the intellectual pay grade, so to speak, and you can mislead our people. But one thing I know and two for sure is that every time I get up here and I demonstrate, I always come forth with sources. So a person may disagree with me for being who I am as a Moor, but they can't take it from me that I bring them sources. You know what I mean? When it comes to everything that I demonstrate, every claim that I ever brought before the conscious community, you know, I have proven my claim with not one source, but many sources to back it up. And this is why a lot of them scared to get in the ring, you know, and I don't even care to even go back and forth over this information. I just get tired of the acts of people trying to challenge what it is that you have, but yet they don't want to stand on it and really get in here and let the people be the judge, because they know some of them done been to my channel. You know, you got a lot of them done been to my channel, you know, and they act as if they don't know what's going on, but they know what's going on, you know. So dealing with this aspect of things, you know, this is what we're getting at. But I'm gonna show y'all something tonight, and that way y'all can see that our people are very disingenuous. I want to see, I'm trying to put a yeah, okay, here it go. I want to put this up here. I want to put a disclaimer up here. You know, people do all types of things to try to go against what it is that you bring into the manifest. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna do this. We already got our subject title up there. I ain't got to put nothing else up there on that. I'm trying to make sure I got this connection right, so this thing don't die out on us. Give me a second. And be sure to hit that like, share, and subscribe, family. I'm just trying to make sure that our connection is good. Okay, so this thing don't shut down on us. So let me put this up here. I'm gonna put this little banner over here on the bottom. And this is actually dealing with copyright claim. So we don't want nobody acting like we tried to take something from them. Put this up here. We want to make sure that we say it exactly how you said it. We want to put this demonstration up here. We ain't trying to monetize off of nothing that somebody else did, but we got the teacher. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and start and share the screen and let y'all see how this demonstration went. Let's see here. I'm doing the same thing that this brother does when he tries to bring clarity to certain things that he's seen on other brothers' shows. So hopefully he can see and respect, this drawing when it comes to dealing with being fair when I draw. And hopefully next time I go to his platform, which I just started peeping in there the other night, hopefully that he will, be reminded of, what it is he done put out here. Come on now. Okay. Let's see. Okay, do it like that. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna share the screen right now, and I'm gonna let y'all see what it is that we have. This was the conversation when I first went in there. Let me make sure I blow this up too so you can see it on your side. Okay, this was the first one that I went into, so y'all can have a little background and history. Okay, there we go. I just want to make sure y'all can see what's going on. You'll be able to hear it. So let me do this. This was me first entering. You can look in the chat.
With your mic, it's not allowing the mic. All right, so maybe next time.
Yeah.
And,
so,
but let me say this real quick.
Okay.
I just want to say this. Kemetian, I'm not one of those people that will pretend that you ran and all this other kind of stuff. I know you definitely legitimately have computer issue with your mic or whatever. So I'm not gonna hold any of that against you or whatever. But don't ever accuse me of running though, or anything like that, or even think that I run or something like that. I don't get down like that. But anyway, so next time, Kemetian, when I'm live and provide the panel link, if you want to come on and share something, hey, you're definitely welcome to. All right. So just to make that clear. But MK, you were gonna say something?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that if Kemetian was on the phone, I think you have to allow on your phone settings. It will let you know that in the beginning. If it doesn't, then you have to manually go to your settings and allow the app itself to access both the mic and the camera if you want both. But you will have to give it access. And if you're on your computer, then once you are on this platform, then there's the settings icon, which is like the cogwheel, and that will you can do your settings over there. So just next time when you want to, because I know you had you have been here before, but probably something is different this time, so you just have to make that work next time.
All right. So we have another person.
So I couldn't get in there. Something was going on with the audio that particular night. This was an open discussion. He also made a comment in this particular video before I even got in there. Yeah, I don't want to go into anything about the meta not being deciphered, right? Now I can see him challenging other people to come up and get on the link. That's why I got up on the link. And you had a brother over here ask a car. He say, see how they block you and use others to say that you didn't hit the link, and LOL, and because it really wasn't allowing my mic. And I didn't look at it from that standpoint. That's all good and well, but I know he really didn't want to have that conversation, because this is the night I wasn't able to get on. But here's another night where the next night I come to get on, and listen to this. Listen to the disclaimer that he puts out here.
Then we have Matt Forever. I believe this is Shaka Ndugu Kemet, aka Matt Forever, and he dropped the link. So here's the thing. It is 4 a.m. So let me make this clear right now. It's 4 a.m. where I am. I'm on the East Coast of the United States. It's 4 in the morning. I did not intend to be this long at all.
I'm the one that said drop the link, and you can see it right here if you see me highlighting that. So he said drop the link, so he know I'm in here. He been telling everybody, get on the panel. You know, get on the panel. We had some things we agreed with, you know, in this particular measure here. But when it comes to the language, you know, that's what the problem is, because he went against the elder. This is the same brother that wrote this book right here, you know, and also the book, you know, dealing with Walter Williams, talking about, you know, the elder. He actually rebutted him point by point. You know, I know Maotically we don't plunder the works of the ancestors, you know, and Walter Williams is an ancestor. So in order to get yourself off the ground, you don't attack the elders in order to become known and make yourself known. So I'm finna show you something in a minute now. Just watch this. So this is me on here. And like I say, we had a good bill per se. But then when I came back the next night, you know, and I gave certain measures to try to give a little more insight on the language, and he already pretty much know what I stand on. I can tell because he addressed it before I even get in there. So he know who I am. But listen to this.
I didn't even know how long I was going to be. I had nothing pre-planned. The only thing I had was I took pictures of the book that I felt that are related to the topic, and then I'm going to ride through Reggie's video. So that's what y'all saw me do. So I'm not going to hang out too much longer. I'm about to post a link to the panel. But now, Kemetian, last night you wanted to come on, and I believe, I don't know this, but if you are going to come on to talk about the hieroglyphs being deciphered or not, I'm not doing that tonight. So I'm just letting you know right off the rip, I'm not doing that tonight. And I would actually prefer you, if and I'm only assuming, and I could be 100% wrong, and
he was 100% wrong. But see, automatic, that let me know he know who I am. You know, he like, if you coming on here to talk about the metanet being deciphered, but you've been calling all your audience out and telling them to hit the link and come in there with certain measures. So he didn't only make this disclaimer in this measure, he made the same disclaimer in the previous video as well. You know what I mean? So you can call it what you want. Some people call that running. You know, I ain't gonna get up here and go there. At this point, I'm gonna just show you something. Now watch this. See, you can have this conversation with people when they don't know no better. You can be condescending and talk down to your audience and everything. You know, it's always easy to demonstrate that until somebody that come in there that can see what's going on. And I know he know who I am, because I ain't even come up in there yet. He already putting disclaimers out there on trying to marginalize what I talk about. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, I went with it in this particular measure.
if that's not the case, cool. If that's the case, what I would like for you to do is to read our book on refuting Professor, I don't even know if he's a professor, but Dr. I don't know if he's a doctor, but Walter Williams on that entire claim. Okay. And I'm only saying that because your name was recently associated with talking about the hieroglyphs not being deciphered and something with hieratic.
See what I'm saying? Because my name was associated, you know. You see the jargon that he used, it almost like somebody done committed a criminal act. You know, your name has been associated with talking about, you know, the hieratic and, you know, this and that. So basically, I don't want to allow that to come on. I don't want it to, even though he claiming to talk about linguistics and, you know, challenging people. But oh, y'all finna see something in a minute. This ain't nothing. Watch this.
And stuff like that. I'm totally clueless on your stance on that. So to be fair.
So if you clueless on your stance on that, then why are you creating a preconceived notion on what I'm gonna come in there to demonstrate? You see what I'm saying? Because I didn't have intent to come in there and demonstrate on that particular measure. I was demonstrating on the conversation they had. See, in my circle, we demonstrate along the lines of we don't bring nuts and bolts in where you talking about apples and oranges, and nor do we bring apples and oranges where you talking about nuts and bolts at. So I was coming in here specifically to address this conversation that's been going back and forth based on the word Kemet. And you'll see me, I went in there and gave my particular measure on that. You know what I mean? And he was all right, feeling that was in accordance with the same mindset that he had as far as that portion go. But he just wanted to make sure that I wasn't coming in there to talk about the origins of the language. And somebody mentioned this brother, like, man, we want y'all to have a conversation. You see, so he's here reviewing the videos with Reg and them, and who it is, the brother Garfield and Unc them, and critiquing their stance or whatever. So, I came in, like I said, to get a feel around, and this ain't my first time being on there. I don't know if the brother remember or not, but I done come up there before on his show a while back, a long time ago. You know what I mean? And they did some political stuff, and it wasn't cool. I put it that way. But I came in there, after a long time, and just to see what the demo was. So check this out. Listen.
Fair to you, I don't know what your stance is on that, but I'm just telling you, heads up, I'm not talking about that tonight. I strictly want to talk about this topic right here, driving of the four calves, or the mare chest and all that other kind of stuff. So
he said that, but another brother gonna get on there. When he get on there, and that brother sat on there the whole time. I think it was Shaka. Man, I sat there a whole hour. So, he called me patient, the commission, but he don't realize that's what we do in my Moorish circle. We sit there, we listen to each other 2 and 3 hours, and then we come forth and talk. So, of course, I'm patient. But if you were saying that you was getting ready to shut down, and then you got a guest sitting there, and y'all going back and forth, and you went outside of the topic, because that brother was taking you outside of the topic, so you didn't use that same bridle on him that you was trying to put on me, which, I'm cool with that, especially drawing, right? But watch this.
I'm getting all of those disclaimers out of the way because I don't want nobody to have false expectations. And now I'm going to post the link. So I've said what I said, and then I go live again. We
false
can talk about
expectations is me and him going back and forth on the lane.
Tonight.
He don't want nobody.
And hope that should be fair enough.
So everybody. We put the disclaimer.
Right? We're not going to be all over the place. Not over here.
See what I'm saying?
And let me see. Where can I put this?
This is how you talk to somebody that's coming in here.
Here's the link.
To speak to you.
So come on. Anybody's welcome. I gave my disclaimer or my stipulation. And if that's not good enough, then I'm just sorry for the night about that. Oh, Sosa. Yeah, see, Sosa just said it. We've been on. Where's Sosa comment go? I just saw Sosa. He said, wow. Oh, he said when he say that, he means a couple of hours more. Nah, not tonight, man. It's 4 in the morning. It's way too late for that.
Oh, yeah, he really wanted to.
Sosa said, Dag, you're still rocking 4 hours later solos. Wow, right.
Now, y'all know late night library, I get out like that. We done went to 6 and 7 in the morning. That's what we do. But every time I get ready to come on there, the brother like, I got to go. I got to get up off here. It's too late, but you've been challenging these people talking about dropping the link.
So we've been on for a good minute.
Yeah. Side 12 had a question, so I guess while we wait for people to drop in.
Okay, so hold up. Let me welcome Shaka and Ndugu Kemet on. But Shaka, before you speak, let me address Sat 12's question or whatever. Let me just deal with this. You talking about this question right here, Emike?
Correct.
Okay, so Seshu, what about the book talking about the 4 interpretations being Greco-Roman period interpretations? Well, what about it?
Anytime you go to ask him about that Greco-Roman influence on Egypt, it's a problem, see, and that's what this is going to deal with in a second here. That's what this whole video is about that I'm doing right now. It's got a lot to do with this Ptolemaic information. So that brother Sat 12 is asking a lot of questions. And if he feel like somebody is asking questions, and getting too deep into the concept of questioning the European methodology of decipherment, this brother get kind of touchy, if you know what I mean. So watch this. So
have you seen when he gave his
That's me sitting up there,
translation
right?
of the city man, city woman. I mean, the Kem glyph, the owl, and the loaf of bread, the city man, city woman. Have you?
So I ain't gonna play all of that right
Yeah,
there
yeah,
because
you're
that's a
absolutely
waste of
right.
time.
You're absolutely right.
But him and the brother
So
were going
so
back
so
and
you're
forth
absolutely
on
right
the
on
word
that.
black.
Just like there's no black people. All right, so that's fair enough. All right, but Emika, did you?
You know, he was trying to present Shaka was presenting, you know, a measure from Sheikh Anta Diop in this word being used as Negro for Kemet. You know, my position, you know, which you'll hear me speak on it in a minute, you know, is that Kemet represent the land and not the man. You know, when it comes to dealing with that, the word black didn't even exist during that time. You know, and so that's what I added to this bill. I'm gonna get on to it real quick. You know, because I sat on there for about an hour as they kept going back and forth with each other. You know,
Please, do
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
disagree that on Egyptian dictionaries, when we have
Which
Kem,
one? You
the
you,
trans
you have one available that you can share with
no,
everybody?
okay. Before I share, I'm just asking you, brother,
Okay,
do you disagree if
okay.
I tell you that on some Egyptian dictionary or ancient Egyptian hieroglyphic grammar books, the
hmm
translation of Kem, we have black and brown? Do you disagree with that?
I say that Egyptians don't have a word for brown.
Yeah,
That's
I
what I
hear you,
say.
brother. I hear you. But now my question to you, brother,
Mhm.
do you disagree that we have some hieroglyphic dictionaries or hieroglyphic grammar books that
Mhm.
translate Kem as black and brown? Do you disagree, brother?
Not the color brown that I'm seeing. So no.
You see, brother, right now, brother, I'm being respectful to you, brother Wudjau, and please disagree with me if you see things other way. But right now,
Mhm.
you are being unfair, brother, because I'm not asking you for this color
How
brown. Okay,
am I
you know what?
am
You
I
know
bro-
what's
No, no,
best?
wait.
You know what's best?
You have a picture on the screen, right?
okay.
Wait,
James
wait,
P.
let
Allen.
me make you big. Make you big.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm,
Thank you. I
mm-hmm,
appreciate that.
mm-hmm,
Okay,
mm-hmm,
so that's the name. Claude Obzoma is a PhD. He's an Egyptologist.
mm-hmm.
Okay,
I have that
and
book.
he's also. Oh, well, that's what's up. There it is. Okay, so on
Mm-hmm,
page 293. Okay,
mm-hmm,
here we have Kem,
mm-hmm.
and this is the French one, by the way. I have
Yeah.
yeah, this is the French one. I have the English one, and
Yeah, you don't have to. You can
I
just
can
translate it.
look.
We'll trust you.
Yeah.
We'll
So
trust you.
we have. Oh no, where is it?
You know, the
And
argument,
then the purpose of me showing
you know,
this.
is they had some Europeans talking about this. All this is really dealing with what the European was saying. Got one European trying to say that these different colors here represented people. You know, the cattle was symbolic to the people and all this stuff right here, right? And you know, this is pseudo. If we were to put it amongst us demonstrating like that right there, you know. Um, but they've been going back and forth on this. Reggie been trying to say that yeah, this black cow represented, you know, Kemet, and you know, they go into all types of stuff, you know. But a cow is a cow and people are people. You know, so me and the brother both agree with that. So, you know, we had a good stance on this right here. You're gonna hear me come in here and demonstrate it too. You know, there's some wisdom to be learned here. So this is when I come in, right? I come in right here. Can you hear me, brother?
Yep, I gave you loud and clear.
Wajet Seneb Shimotepu.
Hotep.
Yeah, and I just want to say too, as I enter in, you know, that I come forth with intention to demonstrate, uh, you know, from a level of not setting my lips in motion against any man, you know, dealing with being deceitful or being guileful in my words, you know, and also not stopping my ears when it comes to dealing with the words of right and truth, when it comes to dealing with my art, you know, or acting with insolence or stirring up strife, you know, and I don't look for distinctions. You know, I'm just trying to come forth with clarity. But honest to all of y'all on the panel, I'm gonna try to make this measure as brief as possible. But I've been studying for a long time, you know, 30 years to be exact. You know, that don't mean nothing when it comes to, you know, this conversation. I'm just saying that what I have noticed when it comes to dealing with our people, What I'm understanding is that when it comes to this information, it is our mode of interpretation based upon where we are that cause us to have conflict. For example, if we were being, without using anybody, just using logic right now, right? We understand that the English language is so many years old. And understanding that the English language is not that old, it definitely don't go back to ancient Kemet. I would ask people the question and say, well, if you believe that the word Kemet means black in all simplicity, you know, trace that word black back in the antiquity. Show me the etymological root that go all the way back during that time. And you can't find that because it don't exist. So that kills the conversation, you know, of people who try to equate the word Kemet with black. Now, we understand in this modern time, we use this terminology, you know, and when I look at it, if we were to equate it with anything, I always equated it with the land itself and not the man. You know, some people would probably argue and say, well, we come from the earth and the earth deal with black soil and da da da. And as we know, we come in different shades as well. And in most cases, most of our people are not jet black at all. And so the Egyptians referred to themselves by different terms when it comes to the racial category, if we want to use that, because even the word race didn't really exist during that time. You know, they referred to themselves as the Nehesu, as I heard y'all say earlier. You know, the Remetu. You know, you had terms like Amu. You know, these describe who the people were. You know, so briefly, the term black actually referred to Alsa as it referred to him as being dead, according to the text. You know, as far as dealing with him being in the underworld, you know, or the Amduat, if you want to call it that. You know, it had nothing to do with skin color. You see, and once we understand that right there, I think our people can get ahead of, but a lot of our people so caught up on that word black, man, to where they can't get past it. You know, even not even accepting the fact that it comes forth from scientific racism, basically. You know, John Blumenbeck, and they were the ones that used those terms to describe a people. You know, so some people are trying to pick and choose what words they hold sacred. Some words they'll say, well, we want to say Neto, we don't want to say God, because Neto don't really mean God, but they don't want to do the same thing when it comes to this word Kim and black, because they feel like it's something taken away from their foundation. You know, one time, if you would have asked me, I would say, you know, who is the original man? Asiatic black man, maker on the cream of the planet Earth, father of civilization, God of the, you know, black, everything. Universe, black, this, black, that. Black crazy, you know. Nothing wrong with the description, but that's all it is. So the people shouldn't be arguing, you know, on those terms. And I just want to share something briefly, not nothing to go long and drawn out, from a source, if it would allow me to share here, brother.
Yeah, go
Would
ahead.
this allow me to share something here? Okay, I'm gonna
Yeah, go
share
ahead.
the entire screen. That way, you know, it accept my slide. Because like I say, I want to be brief. This is actually a source coming from Chicago University dealing with the Book of the Dead. And they made a point here that's relevant to what it is that we're talking about. And if you can see it, listen to what's being said. And they were running down, you know, the different versions of the Book of the Dead and everything. But he said here, and this Forrest Scaff and a couple of people, you know, that were mentioned here, not to make them more authoritative than anything, but this is what he said. It says, when all of the above is taken into consideration, it is clear that answering the question, what is the Book of the Dead, is very different from answering the question, what was the Book of the Dead? And now look at the emphasis that's made here in short. In many ways, the Book of the Dead is a modern construction of our imagination, right? Our conceptions are dictated by the way we categorize the text, how we privilege particular formats, papyri, what we see as the ultimate purpose, even what name we give to the ancient compositions. In most of these cases, our conceptual apparatus for discussing and Let me show this one part here because it's a short portion right here. Let's see. Oh no, it actually was at the top of the page above this. Yeah. All right. Yeah, here it is right here. Yeah. It says, in understanding this material is radically different than that of the ancient Egyptians themselves. And see, we got to keep that in mind. You know, sometimes the ego get ahead of us and we go to trying to interpolate certain measures into certain things that we really have no full knowledge of. But it says in some ways this is inevitable, but it's most important to keep in mind the different perspectives. Our modern concepts can help us articulate our advances in interpretation, but they can also mislead us into misinterpretations, applying intentions, messages, or conclusions that never existed in the ancient mind. And this is what's going on with brothers like Reggie and Smash Rockwell, not to attack them, you know, and a lot of other brothers. They are using interpretations, you know, that are out of whack. You know, right here, for example, the color black represented death in the afterlife, you know, to the ancient Egyptians. Osiris was given the epithet to the black one, you know, because he was the king of the nether world, you see? And both he and Anubis, the god embalming, were portrayed with black. I want to stop right there real quick. See what's going on, and I want to give our people the definition of this word interpolate, because I was giving our people example. This is what our people do. They interpolate meanings into certain texts that don't exist. Like the word black didn't exist because the English language didn't exist. And so it says interpolate. It means insert something of a different nature into something else. We can say that the whole concept of Champollion, so-called decipherment, is an interpolation, you know, that he created, so to speak. You know, let's know I'm dealing with one of these words like the word Kim and them trying to say it mean black when the word black didn't even exist during that time. So to say that the ancient Kemetians define that word as black would be asinine. It would be insane. It would be crazy because the English language had not yet come into existence. That's just like saying that the atoms, you know, and the molecules and everything that exists, you know, came after creation, and that creation wasn't created from them. So in other words, if you don't have a language on the manifest during that time period, if English didn't exist, how you gonna come later and say for certain that the word that we chose to say is a definition of the word Kemet is what the ancient Egyptians meant? You understand? And when you look at it from that aspect, that destroyed the whole argument. All right, you know, and there's certain words though that we can look at that's in the English language though, and they can be traced all the way back to Kemetic words. But these are words. You know, these represent people, places, and things, and not alphabets. We're going to get into a little bit of that in a minute. I keep saying this over and over again. You know, when you look at certain measures, that's what they ain't getting. And in the ancient Kemetian world, they did not have an alphabet system. You see, the alphabets came from the monoliterals that were created in the form of 24 letters during the time of Champollion after the 19th century. So that didn't exist during the time of ancient Kemet. And that's what this whole video is talking about. I'm getting into that in a minute, but I got to show you what led up to it. You see? So this is the problem. People have been interpolating their opinion, something that is different in nature from the ancients, you know. And look, let's look at some of, you know, the other definitions. To insert, to impose, to introduce, to enter, to add, to incorporate, inset. You know, like for example, right here, when we say insert, right, and you see these brackets, a lot of time in ancient texts, if you see brackets in there, like it might say prophet, but it may not say the name Muhammad in the Quran, and somebody will put Muhammad in between there, but Muhammad wasn't even in the text. It just said prophet. Or they might say, you know, prophet in the Bible, you know, and then they may put the name Jesus in there, you know, like different aspects, but it really didn't say that in the text, so people put that there for extra emphasis. But when you interpolate a whole demonstration when it comes to a language, that's a problem, because you were not there. And what we understand, if there was no alphabetical system that existed during that time, then you can't just create something out of thin air just because the Ptolemaic system was created and apply that to the ancient way. Because the Ptolemaic system that those letters were derived from by Champollion did not exist during the time of ancient Kemet. You go back 3,500, BC, Ptolemy wasn't even in existence then. So if none of that existed, if the Greek language didn't exist, the Demotic language didn't exist during that time, because it came 650 BC, none of these things existed. How then can you come and try to use that language, especially when you talk about decipherment? Because in order to decipher a language that's considered dead, you have to do it with a living language. And Greek, which Champollion used for his decipherment, was not a living language. It still ain't a living language. It was a dead language. You see what I'm saying? So I'm going to show you right now. Watch this. Right? Now they talk about modern Greek, right? They say modern Greek is not a dead language, right? But watch this. And they be contradicting themselves. Now they say ancient Greek is not considered a dead language by some. It has been spoken in some region of 3,000 years over time and still taught in some countries. You see what I'm saying? But they say here, in the other hand, it is the 5th dead language on the list, ancient Greek. You know what I mean? Ancient Greek is considered a dead language. You see? So you got different opinions on this right here. I tell you that Greek don't exist. You see what I'm saying? So in certain aspects, hold up. Yeah, in certain aspects, they'll tell you that it's dead, and some people say it ain't dead. But my thing is how are you going to look at this language and then use it? You see what I'm saying? And then say that it's not dead, and then you say it is dead. See, this is the problem with European information. It's always some what we call contradictions in there. You see what I'm saying? Watch this. Let me see. And I'm doing this to show you how much discrepancy they got off in this stuff. It depends on where you're going into it. So now they say the Greek language is not dead, but has evolved over time in different forms. So you got different opinions on all of this information right here, right? You come over here again. Now see, they done took this page off of here. Now, here's another. You got people saying, why is Greek a dead language? Right? Is Greek a dead language? Greek is not a dead language. It's been alive since 1817 BC. However, over time, just like any living language, it evolved, it changed, and took different forms. And we see a remarkable continuity that goes hand in hand with the change of Greek and all of this here, right? So you got people saying that it ain't dead, right? You got people saying it is dead. It's the 5th dead language, and then you got people that saying it ain't. They got many different subjects on this matter right here. Now people saying, you got people saying it ain't dying. Then they saying here in this measure, ancient Greek is an important dead language. So it's based on the eye of the beholder. You see what I'm saying? It's based on the eye of the beholder, family. When you look at a lot of this stuff. Look here. Mycenaean Greek is one of the oldest written languages in the world, the oldest form known to Greek. Ancient Greek was spoken in Eastern Mediterranean from the 9th BC. Ancient Greek is an important dead language because it has left a wealth of literature in fields of philosophy, theology, and mathematics. So here's somebody else saying it's dead, right? So they got to make up their mind. Is it dead or not? You know, so we can see it's a debate, you know, that's going back and forth, you know, between those who believe that Greek is dead and those who don't believe it's dead. What factors led to ancient Greek becoming a dead language? You see what I'm saying? So you can always go online and see people say the same thing, you know, and they say, well, ancient Greek did not so much die as it did evolve into its modern form of modern Greek. In the same way Latin never died. It just evolved into Spanish and da-da-da. If they ain't using the language no more, and they calling it a dead language, you know, then how are you using that, you know, to translate? Like, look, this is the dead language list right here. Akkadian, Latin. Latin is considered a dead language. Aramaic, Sanskrit, Old Norse, Biblical Hebrew, Coptic, Ancient Greek, and Ancient Egyptian. All of these are called dead languages. So how can you resurrect a dead language with a dead language? Can a dead person resurrect a dead person? Let's put it on a basic level. Dead mean you out of here. Ain't no coming back from that. You understand? So, I mean, this is all over the net now. Based upon where you going. Here you go again. List of dead languages. You know, and they even use the term extinct. See, dead languages in their relationship, it says with extinct, endangered ones. How does a language become endangered? Oh, like an endangered species, it's going to die out, huh? It says, what does the word extinct mean? Oxford Dictionary defines extinct as having no more living members, no longer in existence. In other words, to speak it. You understand? So we know it ain't no ancient Egyptians on the manifest, you know, and wasn't none on the manifest when Champollion got there. You know, so how can he be a non-Egyptian? You put all your trust in him to transliterate anything if the language was dead by that time. You know what I mean? So they got all these languages right here. Coptic, ancient Egyptian, even the Coptic, which is really what they call in Greek. You know, they calling it dead. You see what I'm saying? So how can you use these languages to transliterate and resurrect the languages that are dead? You know, I'm just putting common logic out here before I even get into the essence of where I'm going. So if Greek was dead and Coptic was dead, but yet these were used as tools by Champollion to decipher a dead language, how is that even possible? If the language is dead. See, I don't even say the ancient Kemetic language is dead. It's never dead to me. You know, nor was Coptic dead to me. You know what I mean? We can say somebody tried to kill the language, and that would be an accurate statement, but to say it's dead, no. That's another thing to get over on you to make you not look into it. So, you know, even Old English and Old German are considered dead languages. Just look at this. You know, all of these things are considered dead. You know, I think it's disrespectful to even call a language dead, so to speak, especially when it comes to my ancestors. You know what I mean? The death of this Greek language is special because it didn't really die. I hate to see people trying to play with your mind strength. It's oxymoron. They run in circles around themselves. And this is what the European does. I'm going to tell you something though. You know, and I was having a conversation with one of my scribes yesterday. And one thing that I realize is that all of the different evidence that I've been coming forth with to show you that hieratic is the same, as itself, and hieratic is its own distinctive language, and to show you evidence of hieratic existing before, they came up with this little alphabet that Champollion created, which should be common sense. Our information stays the same. But when we get into European scientific theory, it may be one thing this minute and another thing that minute. Like they may say that we come from apes, and then they'll come back later, we found an older hominid that's older than that, and they set away aside from that. And so this is the way, science really don't have a check and balance system. It's just, all right, what we going for now, that's what we going for. And when we find something else that's better, then we gonna go with that. But all the stuff you see me present, all you see me doing is compiling evidence. And my evidence is not contradictory, meaning it's not canceling the information that I put out there previous out. I done recorded this stuff on video. All my information is consistent with itself. So there's a scientific flaw when it comes to dealing with what the European have, because they'll come and say that the planet, was over 1 minute. Next thing they talking about it's flat, then they say it's round. They'll go to telling you that this star constellation was the oldest, then they'll come and say, oh no, this one was. But notice that when I'm presenting these facts that I'm presenting, they consistent with each other. Everything that I showed y'all, like the many times I pulled up, different books and excerpts from the books and the slides that I have, and they all saying the same thing consistently about hieratic. I come with other information, and it shows and proves, and it backs what I already said. So we got to really start questioning these so-called scientific theories, as you really put them up against it when somebody putting real sources out there. So I just want to put that in mind. Let me check on my family. You see? So now watch this. Listen to this, family. This is very important. A lot of people ain't here to get this now. But watch this. Listen now. Watch this. Watch it. Like faces. But if you go like you were speaking on the different colors of the cattle, that's another thing. That's a metaphorical example. If somebody want to apply that, but we know cattle. You notice that they are saying that black means death here, right? So that go back to what Prophet Wudjau Ali said in the questionnaire of the Moors. Black, according to science, means death. That's what Prophet Wudjau Ali said. So that coincides with what Prophet Wudjau Ali taught. And so once they understand black refers to the land, Kim, and they ain't dealing with the skin color, and so forth and so on, then our people can get it. Because Al-Sar was also green as well. So does that mean that he is a green man? We can go into all of those different arguments. But and that's what I'm talking about, because we seen Osiris or Al-Sar in a green form. So what's the word for green? Does that mean that green people represent a nationality? Are you talking about aliens? Come on, man. Let's stop playing with ourselves. See, our people pick and choose and interpolate what they want to into the text. But these words, green, fact of the matter, red, yellow, white, blue, did not exist during the time of ancient Egyptian. So we can say that an Egyptian word means this or it means that. But in fact, we really don't have the fullness of that knowledge unless we can attest it, and trace it all the way back, like you finna see me do in one example that I'm coming up with. Watch this. Like we said.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Go ahead, brother.
Yeah. So, first of all, this is my first time. I think this is my first time interacting with you. So I appreciate, nice to meet you, and everything like that. If it is, because I don't recall interacting with you before. So that being said, I'm not familiar with your stance on that heavily debated topic about Egyptians being black, call themselves black or whatnot.
So I'm gonna show y'all something.
So if
if you look right here, this slide that I'm getting ready to present, you can see the word mirror, you know, which is M&R and sometimes UR, mirror, like mirror, mortar, you know, and I go through the etymology of this word, you know, dealing with the oldest bull deity in Kemet, Kemir, right? Kemir, or Mur, or Kamar, Mur, because W is interchangeable with U. So I show the pictures of this bull that's called the Black Bull. You see, and they saying Kemir or Kemmor. And it goes into Menevis or the Egyptian Nemur or Merur or Menur or Mirwir, the black bull with the solar disc on his head, you know, which is one of the most ancient cults that existed in Kemet dealing with Ba and Ra, you know, also to the extent that where the Proto-Hebrews brought this forth as an alphabet because they were dealing with the worship of the calf. You know, so it says, Mirwil was the sacred bull or the young bull of Heliopolis. The bull was usually completely black, but if that was not possible, a white bull was also acceptable. So what have we to say about that? Because we know the word black, when we trace it all the way back into English, it goes to black or blanco, and blanco mean white. And we touch on that in this particular conversation. So it says the chosen bull was also known as Kemir, the great black, right? The time of the bull, it says, came to be associated with more popular Apis bull. Apis is said to be another form in Greek of Osar. So this doesn't mean that Osar was black because this bull is a black bull. Cattle is cattle and men are men. You understand? Now, this is what the European trying to do. You know, they wanted to make the cattle be symbolic to the people. And that's what Reg is trying to do. Just to get this term off and say Kemet representing black people, you know, represent that. And even when they saying this here, when they dealing with this concept of black bull and all that, this is English language. They don't have the proof to say that that special thing was referred to the Kemites in that same way. You see? But we can see up here, Mirwir has said to be manifestations of Amen-Ra, Ta, Osar, and Tehuti. But just because this bull was black, you know, in this form here, does that represent a race of people? Because the concept of race didn't exist in ancient Kemet. You know, they referred to the people by these terms. Kemet. You know, and then when you see pictures, you will see them with a dark hue. But the word black didn't exist then. They used the terms Meswesh. This was the ancient name for Libya. A Moreu. You see what I'm saying? The Moreu, the mirror, the Moreu, right? And then you had what you called the Amu, you know, which was a term sometimes used as a blanket term, which means Asiatics, you know, and it can also represent the Hyksos. It meant also troglodyte nigger, you know, all these different terms based upon who you're getting it from will give you these definitions, you know, or you have the Nehesi or the Nehesihu, which are known as the Nubians or the Cushites. So they were referred to as Nehesi. So call them Nehesi. Call them Kemet, the Egyptians. Call the Kemites the Retiu, you know, because they use that term too, or Remetiu, you know, Remet. Just call them Remet, you know, but these words that they are using now, getting off into this color, didn't exist. And also the concept of color coding people came from scientific racism. You know, John Blumenbeck, that was created by, you know, racists. This is scientific racism. So that stuff didn't exist during ancient Kemet. It even goes so far in this term with Mirwir, giving history about the Mari and the Moors. I talk to you all the time about the Demari, or the Moorish gods. They venerated Amen-Ra. Amen-Ra was venerated by the Moors in the form, you know, of this ancient expression here. You know, they had veneration of the bull. It says, as well as some scholars have attached to the name Mari and Moor to the deity as well. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is information that's out there. So this shows a Kemetic connection between the word Mari as it relates to Moor. Now, we can trace the word Mari and Moor all the way back to Kemet. We have evidence of that. But they can't do that with the word Kim and the word black, because the word black does not go beyond. When you remove the vowels and deal with the etymology, you can go back maybe to the 14th century. But it won't go all the way back to 3,500 years ago, 3,500 BC, which is really like 5,000 years ago, because that's 3,500 years before Christ. So that's 5,500 years ago, 5,500 years ago. The word black did not exist back then, people. So you're a liar, when you go to saying. So me and the brother was cool on this part. You see, we was cool on this because he felt like I was an ally with him against what Reggie was saying. But this is the first conversation me and Reggie had on the word black. He tried to challenge me on that years ago on Sarnetta Channel. So my position has always been of this stance. And as Moors, this is how we demonstrate anyway. Just so happen to be, Kemetically, it's the same thing. Black according to science mean deaf.
If you could just summarize because it sounds like, based on what you already said just now, but I don't want to assume, that's why I'm asking you the question directly, but it seems like you don't agree, or you're not on the side that the word Kemet or Kim and stuff in the word Kemet is referring to the people. You more so think it's talking about the type of land or the land and not really the people and the skin color and all that kind of stuff. Am I correct in that?
That's correct. That's exactly what I'm saying. And some people think if you say that, it's slighting, Kemet. But if people are referred to as who they are already in the text, the Metu, the Nehesu, the Amu, these are the different terms that are given, but they are not subjugated to skin color, like brothers are trying to take it. And even the most people that's arguing this, they ain't black. When you look at the way they look, like me, I would be considered, red tone, so to speak, and actually they say that's the color of, what they would have considered the Kemetian people, like he was telling the brother a few minutes ago when he was showing the pictures, but they think for some reason that this word black just make you African. And even the word African is a whole nother measure as well, So just like I was showing here with this concept of a mirror, the bull did, just going into all the etymology and the root of the different words that are used, regardless of the vowels that they put there, because we know their ancestors didn't even use those things per se. You know what I mean? Some people would try to take this and say, well, this black bull represented all saw in the form, so he was black, and so that would be pseudo, to do that. I'm a practical brother. And I'm saying if the ancient Egyptians didn't say that themselves, then we can't really put that in their mouths. You see what I'm saying? I understand that we love melanin and we love all of this right here. We love the universe of darkness. There's a lot of metaphysical and metaphorical examples that can be used. Now, if we choose to say, okay, that's the term we utilize now, all is well, but don't say that the ancient Egyptians taught that, because that's where the conflict comes into play at. And that's where all the confusion comes into play. I'm going to give you a prime example, right, with words. This is just, this is my last portion here. Etymology, right? Dealing with this word mir, right? We can see it means governor of the town, right? We can see it means overseer of the courts of justice in one aspect, mir het ur, right? Mirkat here, which is work of the clerk of works, director of public works, so to speak, right? We can literally see from the etymological origin, the word mayor, how it derives from the same definition. It's just using common sense right here. Head of the city, town, government, major, mayor. J is interchangeable with the I if you understand what sound shifting is in linguistics. And we can go on and on and on about this, but it's right there. And you go into the alternative forms and you'll see the word mir, M-E-R, just as it is in the etymology. So we can see that this word purely derives all the way back from a Kemetic root. But you can't do that with the word black. Show me the word black and that it trace all the way back to Kemet as it relates to race and men. And then we can say, all right, you got a point. But they can't do it. And me and Reggie had that conversation when we first talked, you know, and they run from me most of the time. So like I said, okay, yeah, so y'all seen how I was able to show. So that's the vetting system that we use, because there are words, you know, that can be traced all the way back to Kemet. But those words that you see, like that mirror, and you seen the pictorials up there, we already know that those are transcriptions. And the real text was hieratic. So that's why when you see me present that, I'm not presenting that based upon saying the pictures are right, because I know that the hieratic is what they had converted, you know, those special pictures from. You see what I'm saying? So those pictures are not the language. That's Champollion's methodology. That's the way of burying the language. So right here, what you have, I have a picture here. I have 3 languages that's mentioned here, right? I don't go into this as I'm speaking to the brother, but I'm going to go into it now. Like the word Hama, we know that K is interchangeable with the A. So if you put a K in front of this H, it will be Kama, right? Now this is Arabic. It means to clean out mud from a well, right? Hamaun, black feeded mud, right? Slime, combination of earth, water, earth, having the source of the body, water, soul, life, mud, transmuted or molded into shape. Slack mud. Hami atun, hamiun, right? And then up under that, here's a Hebrew definition that's CHM, if you can see that. That's CHAM. So that's no different than putting a K on the front of this Cam and CHM. And they said, okay, well, this represents ham, or hot, or warm, but it's dealing with the climate. You know, and they made it applicable to North Africa, which is dealing with the land. You know, and then they go into saying, well, okay, this is the people in the land. You know, the people of Africa were the Numidians. They were dark, swarthy, Mauritanian Moors, and they worship Amun-Ra, Amun, Amen, the sun, and otherwise Jupiter, you know, represented by Cam. So they connected them to the Camites. But Cam mean hot. It's dealing with the climate. You see what I'm saying? It's not necessarily dealing with the people. It's saying hot or heat, which is the Hebrew equivalent of the word kama, hammer. So then I went over here, you know, and I gave a drawing out of the Moorish Holy Quran, where it says, seeds do not germinate in light. They do not grow until they find the soil to hide themselves away from the light. Man was evolved a seed of everlasting life, but the ethers of the triune Allah, the light was far too great for seeds to grow. So man sought the soil of carnal life, and in the darksomeness of the earth, he found a place where he could germinate and grow, and the seed is taking root and grown full well. Moorish Holy Quran, chapter 22, 29, and 32. So I'm collaborating, you know, the Quranic word, because this word comes from the Quran, Hama, dealing with black mud, you know, Cam going into the same black climate, dealing with the heat and so forth and so on, they like to call it. Then I'm going to our Moorish Holy Quran, dealing with the seed of carnal life, you know, being you know, where man come from. We dealing with the darksomeness of the earth. So we still dealing with the earth and the climate and all these different areas right here. You know, and I then went into the word Amen, which is Hamun. And it goes into talking about, you know, how the Egyptians had a deification of Ham, who was the posterior people, Africa, you know, and who was the father of Mizraim and Egyptian, you know, polity and power. Amen had a famous temple in Africa. He was adored and symbolic figure of the ram. You seen they were saying that the Moors venerated Amun-Ra. Amun-Ra was even in the form of the expression of the bull concept. You know, but it goes on talking about the symbolic figure, also the ram, the oasis, and it talks about, you know, the midst of the frightful desert where was the oracle of the great fame, which Alexander the Greek consulted at the risk of his life. You know, even the Greeks, when they conquered us, they gave praises to Amun-Ra, you know, because they felt like Amun-Ra allowed them to conquer us. Can you imagine that, somebody conquering our people and then praising, you know, your God? That's just like somebody conquering an Islamic country and then screaming Allahu Akbar. You know, God is the greatest. I would think that would be sarcastic for an enemy to do that, But the Greeks was dead serious. They like Amun Ra had to allow this to happen. Well, Genghis Khan said the same thing though when he went amongst people. He said, had it not been for your many sins and disappointment, God wouldn't have sent me as a punishment upon you. Your God. So it said it has been thought that Amen is an Egyptian compound of Hamun, Ham, On, being the Egyptian name for the luminary. It says afterwards, idolatrous. Yeah, it says referred to Ham, and so they talk about a temple that was dedicated to Amun Ra and all of that. So I was going into the breakdown of the word Akibalon, when I dealt with this, because this is the Kemetic glyph that you see all of them putting up there talking about Kim. That's where him and the brother Shaka was going back and forth. So, I seen when we did into the concept of Akah, Ba, La, and Nu, and Akabalon, as it represents the land. I can see the soil that's mentioned in what we was talking about morally, but I can also see the Ak, which deal with the perfect body, the Ka, the spiritual soul, Ba, the soul in general, La, which represents the essence of God, and Nu, and Nu actually deals with, in most cases, what we call, the void, the celestial Nile or the Nu. We can even say the land of the Nu. But anyway, going into all of that right there and dealing with Kim and Ka and the land of Ham is still talking about the land. So this glyph that they talking about Kim is not talking about the man, it's talking about the land. The man end up coming into the land later, and the man is known as Remetiu. Remetiu dwelling in Kemet. You see, so we got to start using the terms that the ancestors used to describe themselves and stop trying to conflate the definition with these Roman definitions. If you want to say that's what you interpret it as or accept it as, say that. But don't say that's what the ancient Egyptians said it was. You see, because you get in trouble when you do that. So let me go ahead here. With land, even in the Arabic, if you were to deal with sounds, because we know that I call them strong words. There are certain words that are in the Arabic, that are in the Hebrew, and they correspond to the Egyptian word. In most cases, the Egyptian word is the origin word. A lot of these other words in these other languages deal with more of the effect, but the Kemetic word deals with the cause in its root. But that's a whole nother story. So yeah, right here in Arabic and Hebrew, it's referring to the land and not the man. So that's all I want to say right now. And, we can get into some other conversations later. All right. I don't hold y'all, but
no, I appreciate you coming through, and I'm gonna tell you, I apologize for having you wait so long, because I actually forgot, because the brother Shaka and Dugu was on here twice, and when I look at the side like that, I actually totally missed you even still being here. I thought you had dropped off, so I apologize for that. And then when
I had sat there for about an hour, so you know how we do it. We patient, and like he even made a reference to that, saying, "Yeah, I'm gonna start calling you the patient Kemetian." You know what I mean? So, we had a pretty good conversation here, because everything to his statement was in agreement. He felt like that was agreement. But now this is where, we got to get him at. And this is his own words here. Listen, watch this. I want y'all to hear this now.
Okay, well, if you don't mind, could you elaborate on the alphabet that was used and how?
I wasn't in this conversation. This is a conversation a few months ago with him and somebody else, and they asked him a question. Listen to him now.
Is an alphabet attached to symbols? Okay. The ancient Egyptians did not technically have an alphabet, but
did you hear that? The ancient Egyptians did not technically have an alphabet, right? Listen to him now.
Call the monoliterals a pseudo alphabet.
Now he admitting that these monoliterals that were communicated and created by Champollion was a pseudo alphabet. See, this is what I'm getting on him about. Look.
And what that means is that, because to us an alphabet are single characters representing single sounds in English, like the English alphabet A to Z.
Now remember what he said, single characters represent single sounds, right? That's what alphabets are. Watch this.
And the monoliteral glyphs, and what that means are glyphs that represent a single consonant, hence the word mono meaning one, a single consonant representation.
And that single consonantal alphabet was created by Champollion. It never existed prior to that. There is no alphabet chart created by the ancient Egyptians that's on it. That's why I asked Reggie, and I had a conversation I was asking all of them, because that killed the whole conversation. That's common sense argument, you know, without even have to show no sources. Since you say that the metanetta has been deciphered according to that, then you need to produce a chart that the ancient Egyptians had. Why we say this? Because the Arabs have a chart for their alphabetical system. The Hebrews have a chart for their ancient system, even though they call it dead. The Greeks have a chart for their system. You see what I'm saying? But you mean to tell me there is no hieroglyphic alphabet chart that existed prior to the one that was created by Champollion? The one that he made up after his so-called decipherment that was based on Ptolemaic monuments that didn't even exist during the time of ancient Kemet? If I'm going to say it like this, if the artifacts did not exist during the time of ancient Kemet, if they didn't come directly from ancient Kemet, they didn't even exist, and the Kemites went away and then they considered their language dead, how are you going to come up with Ptolemaic stuff that don't even got nothing to do with ancient Kemet and use that as a method of decipherment? That's common sense. Once you say that right there, that's common sense without even having to go pick up nothing. You should be able to discern with your own mind and see what I'm saying. I'm going to say it plain again. 3,500 BC, before the time of Christ, 5,000 years ago, 5,500 years ago. Yes, these signs and symbols that you see were in existence, but they were not an alphabet. All of these signs represented things. So there were words that these were referred to. Like we would call this a bird in our language. So there's a word that has to do with the word bird. These deal with what we call bilaterals, trilaterals, and what they call logograms, you know, ideograms, you know, and they got different forms that they use, determinatives. All of these represented people, places. They don't represent a letter in the alphabetical form. He admitted this right here, bro. And that's where he messed up. Because you know how I am, family. You know I'm going to find it. This is what he said. I didn't say this now. Watch this. This was months ago he said.
There are glyphs for that. And they're 24 in number.
And 24 glyphs is the one that Champollion came up with in the 19th century. They even tell you that, the Europeans will tell you that the English alphabet did not even exist. Well, rather, they did not, they didn't know, people didn't know how to speak, basically, during the early 17th, 16th century. Everybody didn't know how to read and write. So that's how Champollion was able to come in, you know, a little bit after that and then try to act like he done transliterated something, but he didn't see the information age and this internet coming up here and all this stuff and us being able to go back and translate the French into the English and look at this stuff. See, he was able to get away with it until that. And then you got those who want to follow the narrative of the European, but Kemetian ain't going. Watch this.
Depends on who you talk to. Some say 24, some say 25 because you have the double reed leaf. And then you have the alternates for the N. But they're 24, generally speaking. Okay, well, if you
24 that was chosen by Champollion. Watch this. We're gonna let you hear it again now.
Don't mind, could you elaborate on the alphabet that was used and how is an alphabet attached to symbols?
That's what somebody asked him. If he don't mind, could he elaborate on the alphabet that was used and how it's an alphabet that's attached to symbols? Somebody asked him that question.
Okay. The ancient Egyptians did not technically have an alphabet, but we call the monoliterals a pseudo alphabet.
See what I'm saying?
And
now, how many times y'all done heard me teach on Champollion alphabet being a pseudo alphabet? He admitting it right here. he said they didn't have no alphabet. And that's what this conversation is dealing with right now. Hold up, I'm gonna let you hear something else again. Watch this now, because I don't want nobody to say I'm quoting the man wrong. I want you to hear what he said out of his own mouth. I didn't say it, he said it. Now watch this. This is when I was on there with him the other night. Now this is months after he did that.
All right, right here. So this is what I had on the screen before.
Okay, look.
And so you're saying that the first Abu is more ancient, Metu, Rani Kemet, or Ray and Kemet. The last two are more recent, based on artificial transcription as it relates to Ptolemaic hieroglyphs. Okay.
Pay attention now. I said this, the first Abu is more ancient, Metu, Ray, and Kemet. Why? Because this is a thing referred to as Abu. We know this word come from hieratic. It didn't come from this picture. That's what it's called. So in normal writing, you will see this sign and it'll have hieratic written beside it, letting you know in hieratic what this is called. So this elephant is being referred to as Abu. This is the ancient way, is what I was telling them. The first Abu is more ancient, Metu, Ray, and Kemet, meaning it's the ancient language of ancient Kemet. I say the last two are more recent, based on artificial transcription as it relates to the Ptolemaic hieroglyphs. Because methodology of Champollion is used this. So now they're going to tell you this is Ab and this is W. AB, this is Ab and this is W, Abu. And then they put this as a determinative behind it to basically say what it already is up here. I'm saying this methodology based on this is coming from the Ptolemaic aspect, because that's your boy Champollion's methodology. That's what I was saying to him. And even the one down here at the bottom, you know, it has the Abu, and then they put it down here, and they got a man and a woman, the Remet, you know, and they call it the Abu, and they call them elephant people. You see, so this is supposed to be a sign that represents elephant people, according to what they're saying. But I'm saying these two methodologies come from a later period, because the sign was recognized as what it was. It wasn't no alphabet or no letter, because this, see, it's three here. This is not monoliteral. Monoliteral deal with one letter. This is three. This is a trilateral, a triliteral root here. You see, this would be considered a certain ligature. Like right now, I could put the hieratic alphabet up here and show you what these alphabets would be in hieratic. But these are not alphabets. You know, this is a thing, and it's referred to by word. And in ancient Kemet, there was no alphabet chart. That's why I told him the first Abu is more ancient, Metu, Ray, and Kemet, because you don't see it spelling it out. It's basically telling you that this is a thing. It's an actual thing. And they will say here, this is A, B, and W. You know, this is what they're trying to say. And then this would be, according to them, a determinative right here. And so he wanted to attest this and say, well, this existed during ancient Kemet because it was in the pyramid text of Unas. You know, when you go into the pyramid text, that's supposed to be in that are on the wall. He's saying that this was attested there. Just because these symbols were on the wall in there don't mean that it mean what they saying it mean here. That's Champollion's breakdown of that. Because he's saying this and this means this. Whereas this elephant is an elephant already. It don't need no so-called pseudo transcription of an A, B, and a W here. And this is also really, you know, you got to see where it come from. Does it come from the Ptolemies, or did it come from the ancient Egyptian? Because the Ptolemies added 7,000 different letters in the midst of the alphabet. So you hear him right here. Watch it.
So, Kemetian, I just want to say that that's not correct. The second one here goes all the way back to the pyramid text of Unas.
See,
so it's
what they're trying to say. Just because you see these pictures in the pyramid text don't mean that they mean what Champollion said they mean. You understand? That's what I'm getting at. So I'm saying applying the Ptolemaic methodology to those pictures. Of course, there were pictures that exist during 35,000, BC. It's a whole lot of pictures all over the place. But the Egyptian wasn't writing in this language and communicating in it. These were on monuments. A lot of it was really decoration and is more didactic in nature, didactic art with metaphysical, metaphorical formulas, which goes beyond trying to put it in the box and making it a letter. You see, you can't fool me with that. You can go with the theme that the Europeans say, because that's what they're going to do. Watch this.
But tested all the way back in the pyramid text, and there's no way that anybody could say the pyramid texts were written during the Ptolemaic era of time at all.
Okay, so now he's refuting what was said, but he just said in the other clip that this was a pseudo or artificial alphabet, because the ancient Egyptians didn't have an alphabet. So all I was doing is saying the same thing now, but here we go months later. He must have forgot what he said. You understand?
This chisel and quail chick are very old. They're not Ptolemaic glyphs. Where to go? Where to go? All right, right here.
So there we go. He in denial. This is the last one from him. And I'm going to show y'all another one in a minute. See, we got to call these people on this stuff, man. This is the last one right here.
Okay, here you go. He said, I'm saying the Ptolemaic methodology is faulty to apply to ancient signs, as Champollion methodology would only apply to Ptolemaic glyphs.
I'm saying Ptolemaic methodology is faulty to apply to the ancient signs, as Champollion's methodology would only apply to Ptolemaic glyphs. You see what I'm saying? This is what they're messing up at. You can apply that to, Ptolemaic stuff, because that's what Champollion did. But Champollion's methodology is not a foolproof methodology, and it will be faulty to try to, because remember, he said it himself. The ancient Egyptians didn't have an alphabet. You see?
He said it would only apply to Ptolemaic glyphs. No, that's definitely not true.
He's saying it ain't true, but he can't prove it ain't true. And if I ask him, which if I ever get a chance and we have a conversation, I want to see that alphabet chart, that ancestor there, because that's the only way you can prove to me that methodology applies to ancient Kemet. I don't care about what Champollion created and what he said he deciphered. I want to see the alphabet chart that come from the ancient Egyptians, because they should have one. Because every nation, the Phoenicians had one, the Ugaritic people had one. There was one in India. All these people have alphabet charts. So you got to show me an alphabet chart that was put in picture form by the ancient Egyptians. And you can't do it. They even call the Hebrew alphabet that's based off of Egyptian pictures a pseudo hieroglyphic. You know what I mean? Even what you call Meroitic, the Cushite, they call that also pseudo hieroglyphs. But they don't want to call Champollion pseudo hieroglyphs. He just did. I got plenty of sources saying it. It's an artificial alphabet.
Definitely. That's definitely not true.
So he in denial. All he can say is that's definitely not true. Prove it then. If you see this video, Wudjau, prove that what I'm saying ain't the truth. Because you're going to have to produce the burden of proof. I can show you what the ancient alphabet chart is, and it ain't no picture. And I'm going to do that in a minute. I'm going to show you what the ancient alphabet and the oldest attested source that relates to that.
It's just not true.
All he can say is just not true. See, this is a prime example of cognitive dissonance. You faced with the truth, but you don't want to accept the truth, even though it's right there staring you in your face. Because you have accepted the European concept, of what they say is the truth.
As I said, in the pyramid text, I can show you that word and arrangement like how I had it on the screen. And it's talking about what I said it was talking about. It's talking about a place. Elephantine.
And I want you to get that. He said it's talking about a place, elephantine. Abu. He connecting that to elephantine because of the word elephant. You know what I mean? So a lot of them would tell you, like if they was reading this here, they would say, you know, well, this is Abka, you know, so to speak. You know, and they'll go and read all these different measures, you know, jet, and, you know, this means to walk, and all types of stuff they'll say, you know, coming forth or coming out, you know, all that there is how they try to do this stuff. But that's Champollion methodology. I don't agree with it, nor do I believe in it. You understand? I understand these symbols to be metaphorical and allegorical. And I got proof in ancient sources that exist prior to Champollion by Egyptian priests that say the same thing that I'm saying. So let's get into this elephantine thing. But before we get into this elephantine thing that he's saying, he said it elephantine. We're going to go into elephantine in a minute. But before we do it, we want to go back here one more time. I want you to hear what he said. Now listen to it.
Okay, well, if you don't mind, could you elaborate on the alphabet that was used and how is an alphabet attached to symbols? Okay. The ancient Egyptians did not technically have an alphabet.
So if you saying they didn't have an alphabet, why are you pushing back against what I'm saying?
But we call the monoliterals a pseudo alphabet.
And if it's called pseudo alphabet, then why you keep trying to oppose what I'm saying when you said this months ago? See what I'm saying? See, this is why you got to be careful what you say. Because when you messing with somebody like me, I'm going to pull it up. See, you can't get that garbage bags with me and get away with it. I ain't even going at the brother, you know, on no contentious level. I'm saying we can't play like this. Let's look up the word pseudo. I ain't even put pseudo code up here. They put pseudo code up here. You know, so that's basically what they got going on, though. He just said it's a pseudo alphabet. What is pseudo, people? Not genuine, spurious, or a sham. So this means that what they're calling the Egyptian alphabet, if it's a pseudo alphabet, that means it's bogus, that means it's a sham, that means it's phony, it's an imitation, it's artificial, it's a mock. Look at this. Quasi, fake, fiend, pretended, false, fox, spurious, counterfeit, fraudulent, deceptive, misleading, assumed, contrived, affected, insincere, pretend, put on, fake it. Huh? Let's go back to what he said again. What kind of alphabet did he say it was, people? I didn't say this. This is what he said. We're going to play it one more time. Listen to what he said. He used some of the definition they used. Here it go right here.
Okay, well, if you don't mind, could you elaborate on the alphabet that was used and how is an alphabet attached to symbols? Okay. The ancient Egyptians did not technically have an alphabet, but we call the monoliterals a pseudo alphabet.
Okay. So why you arguing with me? We just showed you pseudo, in other words, a fake alphabet, a sham alphabet. Come on, a bogus alphabet. You see what I'm saying? He admitted it out his own mouth. He ain't the only one did it. Reggie did it one time too. You understand? Like, I can't make this stuff up, people. You know, let me look at my chat. Let me look at my chat. There go my brother, iSonic. He was in there. He witnessed this. And iSonic knew I was going to bring the smoke. But you see, he didn't want me to get up there and go into this stuff. You was right there, bro. But this man said that that's a pseudo alphabet. Now, I'm going to go into my drawing. I'm going to go into my book that I'm putting together. I'm going to go into it real quick. You know, a page of it anyway. Because I got a source in here that I want to show y'all. And y'all need this it right here. I don't think this the one right here. Oh, they trying to get me to go in there and put a dang on. They want me to put a password in here. Huh? Let's see what it do with this one. See if it open this one up. Okay, there you go. This is the book I'm working on. Everybody asking me, Kemetian, when you gonna get done with it? I'm putting in work because I'm trying to make sure this thing is done right. So I'm putting it together. You know, I'm giving y'all a sneak preview, right? And I'm finna show y'all a source. I'm finna show y'all a mean source. And it's actually coming from this area right here. Because I actually got it from a French website. And this is actually an attestation from the website. And look at what I said here. This is in my book that I'm putting together. Yes, sir. It says pseudo hieroglyph phonetics. Now, this is coming from the website. I'm going to show you the website in a minute. It said below, it says is a list. Oh, come on, people. I'm trying to make sure this thing stay charged. Got a little short in my little charging cord. I don't want it to shut off on us. Just give me a second here. Got to pay attention to that because that thing is shut off right in the midst of me building. Okay. Let's see. There we go. That's good. Okay. Okay. Come on now. Get your charge on. Okay. Let's see. Hold up. Okay. I think that's good there. But anyway, so it says below is the list of uniliterals most commonly used by Egyptians of ancient Egyptian. It says, Egypt. It says ancient Egyptian is a Semitic script. This means that there were no vowels. A, I, and W are semi-vowels or semi-consonants. Each unit therefore represents a consonant. The grouping of these hieroglyphs can be considered as a pseudo alphabet. They're saying this now. This is a French website that they got here. I'm just excerpting it in my book. It says it is a modern classification based on phonetics. Each sign is transcribed by the sound to which it corresponds. This alphabet was not really used in ancient Kemet, Egypt. Huh? It was not used in ancient Kemet. And that's what I said to him. He admitted it. But now I get up there with him and he still wanted to defend this Ptolemaic, methodology. And that's why I got to get him. It say this alphabet was not really used in ancient Kemet. These ain't my words. This is an excerpt that I took. And I'm going to show you the website I got it from. It was only found during the Ptolemaic era to transcribe the name of foreign kings. Goodness gracious. It says also, note that the order in which the hieroglyphs are displayed below is not the order conventionally adopted by Egyptologists. Egyptologists classify these hieroglyphs according to this order of transliteration. And then he gives the chart below. Because I got all of this from this particular site. And it was in French. That's what I like about going in these other languages. This is a chart that they have, right? Now I'm going to go to, because this is the source, published in April 20th, 2007, updated June 11, 2019 by Nico. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to click this link and try to go there for you real quick. Oh, there, it took me there. I done went into a nut. This is where I got it from. Same thing what I just said. Below is a list of the most commonly used uniliterals by ancient Egyptians. Ancient Egyptian is a Semitic script. Let me blow that up. I want to make sure y'all see this. Okay. It says, Semitic script, which means there were no vowels. A, I, and W are semi-vowels. And it says a semi-consonant. Each uniliteral, therefore, represents a consonant. Listen to what it says. The grouping of these hieroglyphs can be considered a pseudo alphabet. I agree. Brother Wudjau would agree. a couple of months ago, but now he's saying something different. Everything I say is consistent with itself. You ain't gonna never hear me saying something other than what I said. This is what I've been saying from the whole aspect. But even before I knew there was a pseudo alphabet, or it referred to, I was calling it pseudo. It is a modern classification based on phonetics. Each sign is transcribed by the sound which it corresponds. This alphabet was not really used in ancient Egypt. It is only found under the Ptolemaic era to transcribe the names of foreign kings. And it really don't mean that. You know, but I ain't gonna go into all that. So this is the same list that I have in my book. You know what I mean? This is it right here. You know, so I got it in there. Notice I clicked the link and it went right to it. So I'm gonna give you some of what I'm getting at so y'all can see how hard I'm coming. It says, why the above chart created by Egyptologists is not proper for Metu decipherment. The Rosetta Stone belongs to a much later period in ancient Kemet's history, specifically the Ptolemaic period. The pre-dynastic Remet Kemet, the people who lived thousands of years earlier, had no knowledge of the Rosetta Stone or the writing systems it contains. The pre-dynastic period in Kemet predates the establishment of the pharaonic dynasties, and it extends from around 5500 BC, y'all heard me saying it earlier, to approximately 3100 BCE. During this time, ancient Kemet did not use hieroglyphic as writing in the form seen on the Rosetta Stone. Instead, they likely used simpler forms of symbolic communication, perhaps including early forms of pictorial representations. The development of Metu hieroglyphic inscription occurred during the later periods of ancient Metu, including the Old Kingdom, 2686, 2181 BC, the Middle Kingdom, circa 255, 1650 BCE, the New Kingdom, again, and also circa 1550 to 1070 BCE, the Rosetta Stone dating to 196 BCE, comes from the Ptolemaic period. When Metu was ruled, it says, by the Ptolemaic dynasty, descendants of Alexander the Great's general Ptolemy. I'm going to give y'all a little bit more, and I ain't going to show you everything. But it says the pre-dynastic Remet Kemet did not, and that's the people of Kemet. I'm calling them by what they is. I ain't saying black people and all that stuff. The Remet Kemet is what I'm referring to them as. That's who they are, the people of Kemet. They did not have an alphabet or formalized writing system akin to later scripts, such as Metu and hieroglyphs. During the pre-dynastic period, which extended from 5500 BC to the approximate 3100 BCE, the ancient Kemet used more rudimentary forms of symbolic communication. The development of the alphabet as we know it is a later cultural linguistic innovation that emerged in different parts of the world. The earliest known alphabetic script is generally attributed to the Sinai Peninsula and dates back to the Middle Bronze Age, around about 2000 BCE. The Kemet hieroglyphs include those on the famous Rosetta Stone, represent different and a more complex system compared to alphabetical scripts. The pre-dynastic Remet is likely use basic symbols, simple drawings, and pictorial representations to communicate, but the absence of a formalized writing system, let alone an alphabet, is a characteristic feature of this early period in ancient Kemetic history. Writing systems, especially those involving alphabets, emerged as civilizations evolved, and a need for more efficient and versatile methods of communication arose. And that leads me to right here, and y'all done seen this before. Signs and symbols are for conscious mind and men and women of understanding. That's a Moorish idiom. I said, do not confuse cursive hieroglyphs with hieratic. They are not the same. So I showed hieratic right here. I showed cursive hieroglyphs, totally different from each other. You know, then I showed cursive hieroglyphs and glyphs beside each other. This is the same thing here, but these are not to be confused with this. You can look and see the difference between them. You know, so hieratic is the real alphabet, period. This is the script. These are signs and symbols, and these are based upon metaphysics. Oh, I'm gonna give you this right here since I'm there. Pseudo alphabet chart created by transcribing hieroglyphs, a hieratic into hieroglyphs. This is a source that I have, and it's talking about hieroglyphic and hieratic writing compared. Some of you seen me display this before, but we're gonna go into it again. It says importance to hieroglyphic writing. The following example of hieroglyphic writing is taken from the Prissy Papyrus, upon which at a period about BC 2600, two texts containing moral precepts, which were composed about 1,000 years earlier, were written. So this is called the Book of Ptahotep. You know, this is what it's coming from, one of the oldest books in the hieratic language that we have in our mess. So this is what they're showing how they transcribed it. You know, these letters, the original alphabet in the pictures. It says, now if we transcribe these into hieroglyphs, we attain the following. This is exactly what they did under the Champollion method. So they wanted to say this number 1 is the reed leaf, right? So they took the hieratic letter and then say, okay, this looked like that, so we're going to compare that to that. This is the number 2. And they want to say that this is the same as the mouth. Then they said this number 3 here is supposed to be the same as the hair of the rabbit, right? Anything that they can find that they think look like, you know, what they can compare to this, they tried to make it a letter. Then they said also number 4, this is supposed to be the wavy surface of the water right here. Come on, man. The more we look at these letters, the further we see that they go away from looking anything like the hieratic letters that's up here. Look at this. Number 5, they compare right here again to the same thing. So it's going to be, you know, this is number 5. They want to say that's 5 too. You know, but that's really number 4. So 4 and 5 is supposed to be the same thing according to them. This Champollion list, by the way. So it says number 6. So they want to compare this portion here to number 6. Then they want to say number 7 represents the owl. You know, they want to say that number 8 here represents the boat of a door. And they went on and on, family. And this is how they transcribe the hieratic into the pictures. But when you look up the book of Ptahotep, Ptahotep is written in hieratic. It's not written in pictures. The book of Ptahotep is written in the hieratic language. So if you saying that hieratic is the simple form of writing, if it's so simple, then why don't y'all know it? Because you should know the most simplistic, you know, if it's more simplistic in the quickest form of doing it. So why don't any of you so-called self-proclaimed chematologists know hieratic then, as you know the so-called pictorials? So then I go into showing, you know, what Champollion did. He mapped, you know, the Coptic alphabet, which he called in Greek. This is his pseudo hieroglyphic alphabet chart. He transcribed from the Demotic alphabet. So he went up here and he compared these letters to the Demotic. Then he compared the letters to the picture. So if these letters represent the Demotic language and you're trying to compare these same pictures, you know, that you compared to the hieratic, and we know hieratic is not Demotic. Hieratic and Demotic is 2 different scripts. So how you going to say they script mean the same thing the pictures say too? And then come up later and then use Greek and say it mean the same thing. So in other words, you saying Demotic got to be the same language as Greek, and hieratic got to be the same language as Demotic. And anybody that know better know that Demotic is Demotic, Greek is Greek, hieratic is hieratic. You feel me? So I'm gonna close this out right here. You know, I'm gonna show y'all one more thing, just for a bonus. I'm going too far into this. I'm showing y'all the draft that Champollion used in his pseudo hieroglyphic alphabetical chart based on the Coptic alphabet again. And there it is right there. A-E-I-O-U, he got the vowels all up in here. He was trying to compare all these different pictures, which a lot of them don't even have nothing to do with certain other letters, even according to his own rendition. Look at this. He got these as the letter B. You know, I thought the B represented just the leg symbol. Well, all these other signs come in represent B. You know, how all these signs right here represent the letter K. You see what I'm saying? He was reaching, people. He was reaching. Look at the letter T and D. He's showing you all these supposed to be groupings of the letter T. Which one the T? he chose this hand right here. He'll say this is TI right here, DI. You see what I'm saying? Here's the L. They'll say this is the mouth, the open mouth. They'll say that this lion, which is this is supposed to be, is R as well, R and L. Then all these letters as well. This man created his own means of doing it. And I showed you how to do it. I showed you how he did this. You see what I'm saying? Now look, this is an excerpt. With Coptic, the Egyptian language underwent a major cultural change, abandoning its characteristic hieroglyphic script as well as its various cursive writing forms. With the adoption of predominantly Greek script, Egyptians also changed the direction of their writing. Egyptian is usually read from right to left. That's the hieratic. Although monumental inscriptions vary the direction. So they say you can read it from all these different directions. Influenced by Greek, the Egyptian graphic system changed from non-alphabetic to alphabetic. The same source saying they was non-alphabetic, then they became alphabetic under the Greek symbol because you're using the Greek alphabet. So those who think that they're dealing with Metu Neter, no, you're dealing with Greek alphabet disguised as Metu Neter is what you're dealing with, people. See, I'm telling you, when I get done with this work right here, I'm going to shake the conscious community, family. And this ain't even all my sources. Put very simplistically, the early Egyptian writing system evolved pictographic signs functioning as phonograms and semograms, and phonograms could represent 1 or 2, 3 consonantal phonemes, like I was showing y'all before. Semivocalic phonemes are sometimes indicated in vowels almost never. Semograms, known to Egyptologists as determinatives, were classified as a word, like I told y'all earlier, according to a Semitic sphere. It says, and for many basic terms, these could function on their own. Huh? Man, I'm going to hit you with one more. I'm going to hit y'all with one more. Greek language influence in Egypt. The beginning of Greek language influence in Egypt can be traced to the first regular contacts between Greeks and Egyptians. In the 26th dynasty, 7th to 6th century BCE, well before Alexander the Great took control of Egypt in 332 BC, it says, under Alexander, however, Greek became the language of the administration and so began to play an increasingly major role in Egyptian life. Many bilingual documents in Greek Demotic were produced in the Ptolemaic period, and even the occasional trilingual document, including hieroglyphs. That's that Rosetta Stone, for example, from the beginning of the 2nd century BC. All that's Ptolemaic, people. So when I say he was using the Ptolemaic methodology, I know what I'm talking about. He talking about that's not true. That's just not true. But you're going to have to prove it now, brother. Because the same way y'all came at Walter Williams, I'm coming at y'all. And I'm going to address my book to y'all, like y'all address y'all book to him. Pseudo Ptolemaic hieroglyphs are so-called Greek language in disguise. During the Ptolemaic period in ancient Kemet, which lasted from 305 BCE to 30 BCE, the ruling dynasty was of Greek origin, the Ptolemaic dynasty. This period marked a significant cultural and didactic blending of Greek and Metu Neter hieroglyphic elements. However, it is important to note that the primary inscribed language for official and administrative purposes during the Ptolemaic period was Greek rather than hieroglyphs. Greek was the administrative and cultural language of the ruling elite, and it was used in official documents, inscriptions, and other inscribed records. The Greek language had become influential in various aspects of Metu Neter hieroglyphs society, and many members of the ruling class, including Ptolemaic kings and queens, spoke Greek. While Greek was the dominant language for administrative and official purposes, the traditional Metu Neter hieroglyphs, Metu Neter script, continued to be used for religious and monumental inscriptions. The Ptolemaic rulers were aware of the significance of Metu Neter hieroglyphs, and religions and cultural traditions often depicted themselves in traditional Metu Neter hieroglyphs, artistic style, and participated in religious ceremonies. In summary, during the Ptolemaic period, Greek was the language of the administration and official communication but the traditional metu hieroglyphs and hieroglyphs persisted, especially in the religious and cultural context. The interaction between Greek and metu hieroglyphs cultures during this period is evident in various aspects of art, architecture, and language. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I ain't even playing. You know, I got a lot going on here. You know, like I said, you know, it's much more. I'm getting done. I'm going through this. But like I said, I didn't come to play. I didn't come to play, people. You feel me? So when I get done with this, y'all gonna be able to see what really happened, you know, when it comes to the language. Like I said, I ain't come up here with this foolishness, you know, to be going back and forth and just talking out the side of my neck. We're gonna hit it again one more time, just so that they didn't get it. We're gonna say it again for the one, you know, in the back of the room. Watch this.
Well, if you don't mind, could you elaborate on the alphabet that was used and how is an alphabet attached to symbols? Okay. The ancient Egyptians did not technically have an alphabet, but we call the monoliterals a pseudo alphabet.
I ain't even got to play it no more. Y'all done already heard it out his own mouth months ago. But then he comes up here and tries to, you know, challenge what I'm saying and say that I'm wrong when I told him what I told him. Now I'm finna show you something. I'm finna show you something else real quick. Watch this. We gonna go ahead and use this hammer of repetition. Let me check on my people. You see what I'm saying? So y'all see this right here. Pay attention, take notes. We didn't come to play. I'm gonna go to my page on Facebook, right? Because I got a lot of, you know, I use my Facebook page for teaching. Everybody know that. So let me go here real quick. They in trouble, people. They done picked the wrong one to play with. You know what I mean? And we even agree on the pseudo aspect. You know, and in the artificial alphabet, we agree. Me and him agree on that, but he didn't want to admit that in that setting because he over there telling people that pictures is a language. You feel me? So he don't want to admit that. Give me 1 second here. And that's the thing I'm gonna go into in a second. Here it go right here. Listen to this. I said in this post right here too. I said the sugar content in this dish is deadly for your mental health. And I'm talking about how the sugar coating was put on this conversation. Look at this here. I ain't got to get no money off this here. So, you know, if they don't want to monetize this here, I don't care. You know what I mean?
Hello and welcome to the Hieroglyph episode of Half as Interesting, where I head to a museum in Britain to talk to people from France about a language from Egypt to plug a game from Canada. Now, if it was 350 years ago and I showed you this, it would mean nothing, because 350 years ago, people really had no idea what Egyptian hieroglyphs meant. Nowadays, you still probably don't know what this means, unless you're one of these three people or me, so I'll spend the next 3 minutes going on tangent so I can turn this into a video. What you have to remember about Egypt is that it's really, really old. Cleopatra, for example, lived closer to the moon landings than to the building of the Great Pyramids, and no, I definitely did not steal that fact from Reddit. We're not 100% sure where hieroglyphs came from, but by the Ptolemaic period, about 300 to 1 BC, the written language had basically split into two, hieroglyphic and demotic. Hieroglyphs had existed for centuries, but at this point, they were mostly used by the elites and rulers as a form of official writing. Demotic was a much simpler writing system used by the common people, so most of the population couldn't even understand hieroglyphs. At the same time, Alexander the Great had conquered Egypt, so it was under Greek rule.
That's a good point right there. Most of the people couldn't even understand hieroglyphs in the population. So how you gonna come along later and act like you done deciphered it?
Meaning that Greek was the official language. Now to the French.
Now y'all see that going right back to my book, right? Like I was showing you, Greek was the language. All they did is dress Greek up in pictures, you know, and then present it back to you in a regurgitated form and tell you it was ancient Kemetic language. And it really ain't even Greek, it's really Coptic. But if both of these languages considered dead, how can you use it to resurrect a language that was dead?
or more specifically, this Frenchman, Napoleon Bonaparte. In 1798, Napoleon went to Egypt, headed to Rosetta, found this rock, and decided it was his. But then the British came, found it, decided it was theirs, and took it. It was then brought to the British Museum in London, put on display, and then 200 years later, a bunch of game journalists and YouTubers had dinner around it. The significance of the stone was that it had the same text in the 3 different writing systems of Egypt: hieroglyphic, Demotic, and Greek. Hieroglyphic and Demonic texts could not be understood, but Greek had been spoken and written continuously for thousands of years, meaning
I keep asking the question, what a hieratic at?
that this bottom section could be easily translated. And now for another Frenchman, Jean-François Champollion. Champollion started to try to translate the Rosetta Stone in 1808, but he wasn't making much progress because in the 5th century, a guy named Horapollo wrote a book about hieroglyphs, which was basically—
That's the guy right there, Horapollo. So he had to get Horapollo out the way. Horapollo was a real Egyptian priest, family. One of the last ones of them. He said that the language was metaphysical. It was symbolic. He wasn't dealing with no alphabet charts and alphabet system. This was before Champollion. So Champollion had to overthrow Horapollo methodology in order to get here and off. Even though he agreed and said Horapollo was right and correct in some of the stuff he put out there. So how could he be correct and he didn't have an alphabet chart then? Ask yourself that question.
completely wrong, but since he was old and dead, everyone assumed he was right. The main thing that book said was that hieroglyphs were ideographic, as in each symbol represented an idea.
And that's right. That was the right way. See, the Champollion clique, they want to tell you that Horapollo wasn't right. But if Horapollo was said to be correct by Champollion and he was using this methodology, then how can you say he's wrong?
Rather than a spoken sound. Mathematical signs, punctuation marks, and even emojis, for example, are ideographic characters since they mean the same thing in every language and they don't correlate phonetically to spoken sounds. Most of modern language, however, is phonetic, where the symbols represent sounds that make up the spoken words. As it turns out, the hieroglyphic system is a mix of both. The real breakthrough for Champollion came by looking at names. Ptolemy, the king during the Rosetta Stone's inscription, was Greek, so he didn't have an Egyptian name. Therefore, in hieroglyphic text, his name was approximated phonetically. So, since we know what his name sounds like in Greek, by comparing his Greek name and hieroglyphic name, Champollion was able to figure out which sounds the phonetic characters correlated to. That unlocked a huge part of the writing system, and then, from there, researchers were able to figure out much of the rest through context. So what's the Rosetta Stone?
So you see that right there? They map Greek alphabet to Egyptian pictures, and of course it's going to say what you want it to say. That's the Ptolemaic Champollion methodology. But you can't say that the ancient Egyptians demonstrated that way. That's what I'm getting at. I'm saying keep that methodology, that Champollion methodology, to them Ptolemaic glyphs. But stop lying and saying the ancient ancestors demonstrated like this when you just admitted that this is a pseudo alphabet. It was made up. And my sources said the same thing. And I got more than one source that say that.
Stone about? Well, it's ancient tax paperwork, and yet it still manages to be more readable than a W-4 form. But now, the reveal. This hieroglyphic text translates to half as interesting, but not literally. Despite our relative understanding of the language, there aren't exact translations of every English word. And now for yet another Frenchman, but this one's alive. This means half, this means as.
But the problem was interesting.
That's Dominique Farou, professor of Egyptology at the Louvre. What he did to translate interesting was phonetically spell out Seba, the Egyptian word for learning. Then, since Seba is also the name of a star, he put the symbol for a papyrus, which means idea, to clarify he's not talking about the star. Then, he slipped this symbol in here because it's the logo of Assassin's Creed.
Funny. And then, it is protecting. So it will protect you. And then, a man. Because there is a man here.
That's right, Dominique, I am a man. But what we're not sure about is exactly how ancient Egyptian sounds. Obviously, we have no recordings, so how we say it today is just an educated guess.
Iry Maat, Hatia, Imichenet, Sanisut, Merira.
We know roughly how the phonetic part sounds, but everything else is made up, so speaking today would sound like nonsense to an ancient Egyptian.
Exactly. It's made up. God almighty no. Ptolemaic hieroglyphs, family.
An ancient Egyptian would be really astonished by my accent and many things.
Including the idea of a video game having real educational value, or probably the idea of a video game at all.
They said the ancient Egyptians wouldn't know what they was talking about. So if that's the case, then how you gonna say you out here teaching, to the people that's proper according to the ancient Egyptians? You teaching proper according to Ptolemaic, system of decipherment than what they say, but you cannot say that that's according to what the ancient Egyptians said because they didn't have that methodology. It didn't even exist then. That's what I'm trying to get people to understand.
I guess. Assassin's Creed Origins comes out the day after this video goes out, and it's a pretty awesome game because they've completely and accurately recreated the entirety of Ptolemaic Egypt so that you can learn things. I had a conversation with their dev team, and it's clear to me how much pride they take in historical accuracy. They're even releasing a special game mode called Discovery Tour, which essentially turns the game into an interactive museum in ancient Egypt. So, if you like history and seeming smart and video games and learning things and me, make sure to check out the game with the link in the description.
Okay, so now y'all see why I said what I said. When I said the sugar content in this dish is deadly for your mental health. Because you got the same people that's going to keep on believing that nonsense, and they're going to go through with what was said because somebody told them that. But listen to this. Here go a British Egyptologist. And on this particular one, hold up before I go into it, I said, look at all that sugar she put in that British tea. You know what I mean? Watch this. Listen to what she said. Watch it. Bro, I don't be playing, bro.
So why don't you call it an Egyptian alphabet?
Because it's not an alphabet.
There it goes. She started off the rip. The question are the hieroglyphs alphabetic? He said, why don't you call it an alphabet? She say, cause it ain't an alphabet. Let's do it again. This from the British Museum now, the Irish and International.
Why don't you call it an Egyptian alphabet?
Because it's not an alphabet. It has about 26 alphabetic signs. That means one letter is one sound. It functions, those 26 signs function as alphabetic signs, but it has hundreds and hundreds of other signs that are also part of the writing system. I prefer to speak of one-letter signs because we also have two-letter signs and three-letter signs, and we have signs that are entire words, and we have signs that you don't read, that we call classifiers. They're silent signs, and they enhance the meaning of the signs that precede. So it's not an alphabetic script. And so even though those 26 signs function like alphabetic signs, we can't call the script. The script is a hybrid system of all these signs working together in
a hybrid system. You can't call it alphabet.
In some kind of way.
So everybody that's dealing with Kemet people don't agree, that these particular measures, are hieroglyphic alphabets. You see what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. Then that ain't even dealing with what I done showed y'all already. You feel me? Like, come on, man. Problem is that they so into what they done heard, and I don't have a whole bunch of people on this channel. You know what I mean? Y'all get the likes up, share, and subscribe it. But I'm trying to tell you right here, like, what more, is there to be said? It ain't a whole lot to be said, but I'm going to say something else anyway. I'm going to show y'all again. Watch this. Watch this now. And I'm going to go ahead and bring this demonstration to a close. But like I said, and I'm going to go back. I want to get to that Elephantine thing too, because that's what he was saying that the word Abu meant. Hold up. Let's see here. Yeah. Yeah, I want to get to that demonstration now. I want to make sure. Let me go through here. I got some things in the books. Yeah, that's like even the story of Osiris. The story of Osiris ain't even the one that they have. That's a Greek version as well. Like, we can't make this stuff up, people. I'm just trying to go through here and pull these pictures up real quick for y'all so y'all can see them. Yeah, this is crazy though, family. Like, I mean, I don't know how many times I got to do this to these people. Like, but, you know, I mean, I can't help that they love what Rome telling them. You know what I mean? They going to keep going by what Rome tell them, you know, because that's what they believe. You know, but my duty is to bring the truth to you, you know, and don't sugarcoat it. Give it to you just like it is. Don't even play with it. You know, and I'm going to keep doing that right there every time. You know, so this is another grand measure where I'm, you know, bringing this thing forth so y'all can get it and do your research. Because everything I say can be traced back to a source, you know. And since this one done popped up, I'm going to go into this one. Let's see. Can I open that in a new tab? Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to open the ones up that I'm seeing right now in a new tab. Let me close these out so it don't bog my system down. You know, so we done already proved that they've been dealing with a pseudo alphabet, people. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, that's been proven already. You know, so they can keep acting like and playing like they dealing with what was in ancient Kemet, and we're gonna keep hitting them across the head with this truth. And the truth gonna knock the brains out of falsehood every time. Hold up. It's a few more pictures I'm looking for here. And once I pull them up, I'm gonna show them to you because they come from a particular work that I just brought not long ago. Come on, where you at? I got a lot. I be having my emails and everything. It's full of stuff dealing with teaching and stuff as well. Okay, give me 1 second. I know I'm coming up on it now. I know it's another route I can go through too, but okay, not that one. Okay, I think I may be. Here it go. This is what I was looking for right here. Here it go right here, people. Okay. I'm going to share my screen again. Entire screen. Here we go again. You know, like I done showed y'all people. This book right here is called The Signs and Symbols of the World. I got this book right here, and I took these excerpts out of it. So look at what they say about, you know, language. They said a glyph. A glyph is a hieroglyphic symbol, character, pictograph. A glyph is typically a vector line drawing that shows a picture that has a meaning. It says other than what it directly represents. These glyphs, for example, are actually lines and triangles, but here they are representing different metaphysical states by combining shapes into symbols that have been adopted and recognized by the group and most groups that utilize them most. You know, so they said glyphs are frequently abstract. It says, and their meaning must be determined by research or by gaining access to the knowledge of the group that determined them. It says alchemy. It says religion and business make frequent use of glyphs. Whole books have been written on symbols of alchemy alone. Current research indicates that it says 5,000 known glyphs for alchemy. And so they were talking about these little triangles here, you know, dealing with transfuse, protect, learn, express, transcend, understand. All these supposed to be alchemic symbols. So this is just expounding on those signs. So now they have a measure talking about ideograms. Remember, they call hieroglyphs ideograms, right? Ideograms are ideographs. An ideogram, also called an ideograph, is a written character symbolizing the idea of a thing without indicating the sounds used to say it. Examples include numerals and Chinese character. The word ideograph comes from the Greek idea and graph, which is an instrument used for writing. Numerals are likely the most commonly used ideograms in the world, numbers. Dozens of languages utilize the Arabic number system of 0 to 3, so to speak, even if the actual word for each numeral is different in German, French, Japanese. This sign has no words. It says through its use of symbols, it tells that no swimwear is allowed on the premises. The symbol shown above is not dependent on individual understanding of a particular language, unlike a sign that reads no swimwear allowed in English. So individuals can still understand it no matter which language they speak. The swimwear is easily recognized icon, especially in the setting where such a tie is common. You know what I mean? So, it's just going into different measures they talk about insignias, as ideographs, that they use. This is one of the most important ones here, though. Pictograms, because that's what they also refer to these as. You see? It says a pictogram or pictograph is a pictorial symbol for a word or phrase. Pictograms comprise some of the earliest forms of written language. It says Egyptian hieroglyphics have been found that date back to 3000 BCE. Note that the Egyptian writings are referred to as hieroglyphics. These writings are glyphs in that each symbol represents a word or concept that's depicted by the glyph, not a letter, a word. It say the words glyph and pictogram are sometimes used interchangeably. The two white symbols in this sample to the left represent Seshat, the left, the goddess of writing and the measurement, and Horus on the right, the god of the sky. In many pictographic languages, symbols can be combined to make different words or ideas. In this example from Japanese calligraphy, right here, Happy New Year in Japanese, it says the two symbols for beginning, gan, and morning tan combine to form the Japanese word Happy New Year. Although glyphs are pictograms, but pictograms are not necessarily glyphs. The I Ching and Chinese Book of Divination associated with Confucianism uses 8 trigrams, or characters made up of 3 lines, and 64 hexagrams, characters made up of 6 lines. Below shows a set of 8 hexagrams, which are glyphs and pictograms at the same time, right? And this is where they tried to mix some of this stuff in, dealing with Chinese things, and it goes into talking about ideographs and logograms, and this is the portion where they was mentioning right here. A number of written languages are considered to be ideographic. Linguists prefer to use the term logographic when discussing languages such as Chinese and Egyptian, because the symbols often represent whole words or concepts as ideographs, but they are part of an actual written language. It says for this purposes of this book, we call them ideographic, and it goes on. We'll explore this concept further in chapter 9. Language ideograms are ubiquitous. A global economy wouldn't be possible without the barrier-free ways of communication. So, they show a whole bunch of different measures up here, and this is what we call ancient rock art. Transliterate that, some of you old Egyptologists, since you think you know so much. Because these are the same symbols that became later hieroglyphics. But what is the meaning of this? Go get somebody to tell you what the meaning of this is. Because we can see the proto, pictorials, but what's the meaning of it? Metaphysically, we can go into it. Now, watch this. Listen to what they say about Egyptian hieroglyphics. Egyptian hieroglyphics. Many early civilizations utilized symbols that stood in for an entire alphabet. Most of us are familiar with Egyptian hieroglyphics, Those symbols stood for words and concepts such as immortality, rather than representing individual letters. Hieroglyphics also stood for consonants. It says, and was separated by groups of single and double and triple consonants. Over the centuries, the glyphs were assigned to particular letters in the English alphabet. And we know the English alphabet didn't exist 3,500 years ago. Over the centuries, we're going to report it again, the glyphs were assigned to particular letters. I want to blow this up. In the English alphabet, but this was not a feature of the hieroglyphics originally. So again, here go another source that agree with what I just said. The ancient metal letter, as demonstrated by the ancestors, is not the same as that which is demonstrated in this modern time based upon Ptolemaic hieroglyphs that were extracted from the Rosetta Stone by Champollion. Period. That's all I'm trying to get you to see. But y'all trying to defend this fallacy, you know, to the death. Y'all gonna go to the death defending this fallacy. You see what I'm saying? Now watch this. And this is actually coming from a document, and I'm gonna show it to you in a minute so you know the source. It says it was inevitable, nevertheless, that the later stages of the language have been without the same influence on Ptolemaic scribes, and therefore we find the old grammatical structure and vocabulary influenced with late Egyptian through texts in completely late Egyptian idiom are not frequent, though texts in completely late Egyptian idiom are not frequent. It says Ptolemaic is therefore a hybrid. Do I need to look up what the word hybrid means for our people? It said mainly Old and Middle Egyptian, but influenced in part by late Egyptian, not completely either, the one or the other. Among particular phenomena, we may mention that in general, the distinction between what they're called sedimeth, and sedemneth has largely ceased to have any real significance, and that there is an enormous extension in the use of pseudo verbal construction. Y'all already seen the word pseudo mean fake. It means sham. It means bogus. So they're telling you that Ptolemaic hieroglyphs are based on pseudo-verbal construction. Both HR and infinitive of the old perfected, which tends to have an ending to all common person. Now, where I got this from, is here. I got a couple of documents up here. Let me see. It come from this document. And look at this. Same thing Champollion was doing. Now here, they were known to say this represent the letter M. Now notice they talking about Ptolemaic Edfu equivalents. They trying to compare the Ptolemaic to this normal sign that your boy would call the letter M. So look at all these. Same thing Champollion was doing. Ain't no way in the world all these things can mean the same thing, because this represents mut, they would say in certain aspects as a transliteration. So what is doing here? If this is the letter M, the I represent the letter M, why are they comparing that to the letter that they say represent the letter A? And this says T. You see what I'm saying? Why are they doing this? Let's go on. Same thing here. If this represents the letter N, I'm showing y'all that I know what they say these letters represent, so I could read according to the Ptolemaic system, but that's not correct. And I keep telling these people that, so we ain't gonna go there. So here's some more, determinatives or ideograms or logograms. None of these represent alphabets, but why are these actually represent words? You know what I mean? These are words. Like this here, for example, this is Nisut to them. Why? And this is supposed to be the letter G, which is interchangeable with the letter H. You see them put that right here, H. All this is supposed to be H's, and according to them. So why are they comparing H to the letter N? This is a bunch of confusion, people. Then they got the letter M here, and they just compared M to something else up there. Look at this. Look at this. Ptolemaic Edfu equivalent. So they say this also represent N. The other was supposed to be, the water supposed to be N too. So they say this means negative. It's two hands going both directions. So how is this the same as the letter that they call the letter A? These determinatives that they have on the manifest. You see what I'm saying? Look at, they say confusion and error. Well, certain texts that I say that this is the hieratic letter, but they saying this is confusion and error to compare that to this. So they don't agree with that. You see what I'm saying? This is a whole document. This is supposed to be the letter R. And opening the mouth, you know, it represents the letter R. They got the lion here as a representation of that. But what in the world is this feather doing down here? Because this represents the letter I. So now they're equating the letter I with the letter R. This is jet, according to them. So how does jet equate to the letter R? You know, look at the I. This is supposed to be the letter W here. How is I and W being interchangeable right here? Even this is supposed to be a symbol of W. Why they got the R, L, and the W in here? So these people been guessing at this stuff, family, for the longest. You understand? I told you. They say this is the letter H, right? So how is this representing H here? Oh, they say this is he. This is supposed to be he, right? Okay, well, hold up. Let me make sure this thing here don't try to time out on me again. Come on. Let me get it straight. Okay, there we go. Okay, there we go. Okay, so yeah. Then they got the arms up here. Well, that's him, her, and Aket. You know, this is K right here. You know, they say that's K. So this is supposed to be another expression, you know, of sometime the G, the K, and the H, and so forth and so on. But they got signs here that don't even relate to each other. You know, they showing the Ptolemaic signs as compared to what they call the normal signs. You know, and really, you know, it's crazy because a lot of these Ptolemaic signs, like this right here, you know, look at this stuff. It's crazy right here. Now, what's going on in here, we can actually see, you know, actual ligatures, but they are based off of what they extracted from hieratic. And that's what they ain't telling you. And so that's how they getting off on the people, man. You know, I ain't got to keep going on through this whole thing right here, you know, but, you know, this is terrible. It's terrible how they done pull the wool over on the people, you know, and they going in talking about this stuff right here. You know, misrepresentation. Wardenberg got some real grand drawings on what he was demonstrating. See what I'm saying? Like these ligatures, you know, in the form of letters, you know, this WBN, I know how this would be written in hieratic. You see what I'm saying? That's what they are. So they are things, not individual letters that they tried to push off on the people. So, you know, this is one measure here. Then we even got the whole chart of Ptolemaic signs that was created later that didn't even exist until they was created by the Ptolemies. You know what I mean? We can't make this stuff up, people. You know, we giving it to you as it is. These are all Ptolemaic signs, and some of them look like some of the same sign they claim are Gardenian sign. See, they have Egyptian hieroglyphs right here, right? You got all the Egyptian hieroglyphs, right? Now watch this. See, Ptolemy added their own. And these are Ptolemaic hieroglyphs. Now look at these. Some of these we done seen being passed off as ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs. Y'all done seen these symbols before. But they saying that these are Ptolemaic glyphs. See what I'm saying? These are glyphs that were created by Ptolemy that didn't exist in ancient Kemet. So when you take these and you mix these in with 700 glyphs, and they say they had 7,000 Ptolemy glyphs, them 700 glyphs gonna get lost in them 7,000 people. They gonna get lost in the shuffle. So when you go to trying to interpret things with a lot of this stuff here, you know, and pull and extract from this and say this mean that and that mean this, you know, and all this old other stuff that they've been doing. So what are these ancient Egyptian? Or are they Ptolemaic signs? Because what we getting here is telling us these Ptolemaic signs. See what I'm saying? All these represent activities. And all you have to do is know what the sign means. It ain't got nothing to do with no letters, people. These Ptolemaic hieroglyphs that were created in the Ptolemaic dynasty long after the ancient Egyptian left. So you don't think if you mix this in with the original ancient Egyptian pictures, you're going to have some confusion going on there? Huh? Answer that question. Look at it. Some of this stuff is derogatory. Look here. There go your Ptolemaic hieroglyphs right there. I got the whole list of the Ptolemaic hieroglyphs up here. Some of them look just like the regular glyphs that they have. So are they those glyphs that they are saying ancient Egyptian glyphs, or are they Ptolemaic? See, we got to question it all at this particular point. Huh? Ain't nobody never showed y'all this and went into this like this. Ain't nobody never did this. So when I say Ptolemaic hieroglyphs, we know they come from the Ptolemaic period. And look at all them glyphs in there. Come on, man. They better stop playing. You mix this in, 7,000 of these Ptolemaic glyphs in with 700, and then you try to come up with an alphabet system and use that to decipher something ancient, you're going to miss some things. Because some of these symbols didn't exist during ancient Kemet. So how you going to make sense out of a Kemetic text in ancient Kemet of alphabets when it wasn't no chart then you take these pictures and mix them in the shuffle, you know, because you know one letter changed the whole meaning of a word. If I were to take the letter P, you know, off of potato and put a T on there, it's going to be potato. And you're going to be like, what in the world is potato? Ain't no meaning behind that. If I were to take the word, you know, bat, you know, and we know what a bat is, and I put an L on the front and call it lat, that changed the whole definition. So it's the same thing. If you want to say that these are pictures, you mix in 7,000 symbols with 700 symbols, you going to get some confusion going on up there. If I take some salt right now and mix it with sugar, you might taste bittersweet, but you can't tell which grains is which by looking at them. You feel me? Like, we can't make it no plainer than that right there. Look at all these Ptolemaic signs that didn't exist during the time of ancient Kemet. Remember, Ptolemaic refers to the period of 332 BC from Alexander the Greek all the way up to 196. So when you're looking on the Rosetta Stone, a lot of the glyphs that they have are in the Ptolemaic expression, this which didn't exist during the time of ancient Kemet. You know, I can't stress that, you know, anymore, so to speak, than I already have. You know, and so going back to that last one, he was speaking on Elephantine. You know, he was speaking on that. Okay, let me go over here to it because I had it up here. Here it is right here. Because I had a couple of different measures up here. And also to let him know this ideograph that they are saying is E26 here, Elephantine. Let's show you what Elephantine goes back to. Here it is right here. Ancient Egyptian, right? This is, see what they're showing? They're showing the Metu and Kemet as ancient Egyptian, right? The original language, what I've been telling you. Now look at what they say about this word Abu. When I told him that this comes from the Ptolemaic period, this particular glyph, not the elephant itself, but spelling it out as Abu. Look at it. Romanized. Romanized, people. Romanized. Now watch this. Let's go into this. Trying to go into the word, what they had up here. That's the wrong link. I'm trying to pull up that word transliterated. Let me see. Okay, here it is. Transliteration of ancient Egyptian. Look at what they say. They said, as used for Egyptology, transliteration of ancient Egyptian is the process of converting or mapping text, transcription, text written in Egyptian language, symbols, to alphabetic symbols, represent uniliteral hieroglyphs. It says, or their hieratic or demotic counterparts. See the hieratic right there? They put it up there. See the demotic right there? Transliteration is not the same as transcription. Transliteration is a representation of written symbols in a consistent way in a different writing system, while transcription indicates the pronunciation of a text. For the case of the ancient Egyptian, precise details of phonology are not known completely. Transcription systems for ancient Egyptian do exist, but they rely on linguistic reconstruction depending on evidence from Coptic language and other details, which is a whole nother language in nature. You see what I'm saying? So like when I keep telling y'all what I'm saying, I mean, I ain't even got to say nothing else. I done said what I said, and I'm gonna keep saying what I say. You know, this bogus language that they done come up with, that they got y'all talking about they out here teaching, is a waste of time. You want to learn about Kemet, start studying the hieratic, people. You know, and you can come to my channel. We already teaching it, you know, because we got some books we gonna bring forth on that level as well. You know, so at this particular point, we got to do it one more time. We got to do it one more time for the people. This brother said, what he said. Listen to what he said. Now, see, they were putting that old sugar on that demonstration they had. He put stevia. He trying to go a little toward organic, but he's still off the mark. You know what I mean? He's still trying to hold on to that Romanism. This is what we call in the Moorish paradigm truth and falsehood strangely mixed, people. You feel me? So, you know, all is well. If that's good for him and the pictorial goose, then it's good for the gander. You know, but we ain't going, you know, and like I told him, and you know, everything he put up there, you know, that's Ptolemaic methodology. It's not the methodology of the ancestors. And soon as our people figure that out, they'll stop arguing about what the European wrote and start to go back into the text and really do their own research, man. That's what's been going on. And also, I want to show this, though. Looking at the pictorials here in our tool that we use, there is no E26 here. So there's no attestation for the elephant. E26 is supposed to be the attestation for the elephant. You know, there's no elephant located in the pictorials here, so I couldn't even look it up. You know, the Ibu, you know, and so hey, it is what it is, man. We're gonna let them keep doing what they do. And also, this is where they had the elephant here, and they talking about elephantine, the elephant, and I told him the relation of it as he was dealing with it goes to the Ptolemaic aspect. Look at that. Look at that. So it is what it is. We're gonna let him have it though, if that's what he wants. I'm gonna get done with this book because I just want to make sure I get everything on point. You know, I got a few books that I'm working on at one time, but I got to work on one at a time, you know, to really home in on what it is that we got. So yeah, this brother that I'm talking about is the brother that's the author of this book right here. Talking about the inscription of divine words. Same one that attacked our elder, Brother Walter Williams, Brother Wudjau Min Iry Maat. So if y'all want to know what it would go like if we had a going back and forth, you can already see that this brother ain't what y'all thought he was. And that ain't, go at him and attack his character. I'm talking about as far as dealing with this information. He liked to speak in a condescending manner, and assume certain things, but this is what happens when you get to messing with somebody like me, because I'm going to put you up under that microscope. And I'm going to look at what you're talking about. And once I get on you, it's going to get, tighter and tighter. I'm like a boa constrictor. It only make me go harder, when you try to wiggle out of it. But he can't wiggle out of this because he said it. He said that the hieroglyphics is a pseudo alphabet, and it's really not an alphabet because the ancient Egyptians didn't have no alphabet. Now, if he stick with that, that means he agree with me. He agree with all the sources that I put up here. But if he say anything else other than saying that, like he did in that other demonstration, which is why I'm getting at him to show him the conflict between his statements, then we know he's disingenuous. He's trying to save face. So with that being said, what I'm going to do, I'm going to come right here and see if there's anybody in there. And I want to see if there's anybody in here that want to get on this stream before I shut it down. Because I'm finna shut it down in a minute. If he there, I want him to get up in here. That's what I want him to do. He need to explain himself. Go get it, my son. You know what I mean? Go get it. They go to link right there. Come on up in here. Come in here with your sources. If there's anybody that want to come in here and make a statement on this right here and just give what it is that you have seen. You know what I mean? Tell me what you've seen in this demonstration. Come on up in here, and dialogue with your brother. Tell me what you've seen in this video. Tell me if we made this plain or not. Tell me if I'm putting a false claim on this brother. Tell me if I had a misunderstanding or something. The link right there. Hit the link. Anybody want to come up in here? You good. We're going to give you a few minutes. So, yeah. Like I said, that's where we at with it. Want to give honors to my scribes, and our family that's out there doing it. When it comes to dealing with actually transliterating, we got that coming up for y'all this Sunday. The assignment, the ears assignment, we got that coming up as well. So if there's anybody want to hit that link, like I say, hit it. I'm going to show you this while we're waiting on somebody to hit the link. Because, we know these apparatuses work slow. If not, I'm going to go ahead and shut it down. There was something here that I wanted to bring forth that I meant to share as well that I didn't get a chance to share. And I'm glad I seen it a second ago. Hold up. Come on now. Okay. Well, I tell you. Okay. Give me 1 second. I'm just trying to keep it from timing out on me, because it's gonna be crazy if it cut off on me right now. I don't want it to do that because I'm actually getting ready to end it. So, okay. So this is what I was trying to show our family. This is an excerpt from the book written by Sheldon Lee Gosling. And she said it here. It says, the false impression that Egyptian texts were written predominantly in hieroglyphs is seriously misleading, and only due to the modern scholarly convention of publishing teaching hieratic texts in an artificial hieroglyphic transcription. Said the same thing here. It's another source for those who think that I'm just making this stuff up. Wudjau said it's pseudo, which is basically artificial. The lady in the museum said the same thing. The other video said the same thing. All the sources in my book that I was writing, the website said the same thing. When I showed you the French website, and they was talking, all of them saying the same thing, that this is a pseudo or fake or artificial alphabet. So what's so hard it is? Why can't you just say, all right, brother, we get it? And then go and try to do the right work and looking at the hieratic. That's all I'm trying to get y'all to do. But no, y'all done got lazy trying to use these pictures, and you don't want to go into the hieratic text. You know, I can actually go through there and read ligatures and pick words out. They jump right out at me now because I've been working with them. So, you know, again, this is from Sheldon Lee Gosling's book. You know, she was speaking on the same thing, family. You know, this is definitely bogus that they've been demonstrating with y'all. So, where's that other thing I was getting ready to show y'all? It's actually in the Facebook page. This one right here. Let me see if anybody came here to try to come in. No, I ain't seen nobody hit the link yet. Hit the link if you want to get in here, family, and give your measure on what was being said. I'm finna go right back here. And if y'all don't come in, then I just shut it on down. You know, because I did what I came to do. You know. Wudjau got some explaining to do, though. And so for those who don't know, this actually is a depiction here. You know, and I put the Moorish Holy Quran, you know, ayat here where it says, he hath endued thee with reason to maintain thy dominion, and he hath fitted thee with language to improve thy society. Meaning Allah, this is in our chapter on religion, and exalted thy mind with powers of meditation to contemplate and adore his immutable perfections. That's what you do with the hieroglyphics. You meditate and contemplate, and you adore the immutable perfections. The language was used to improve the society. You know, and this is the oldest abecedaries, as they call it, are derived from the Abjad and what they call the Halahan abecedaries. This is the order known from the ancient Egyptian and ancient Arabic classical Ethiopian scripts. Both these, the ABGD and the HLM. You know, this is add known to what we already have. Where did I get this from? I'm finna show it to you in a minute. As ancient origins reported, there has been other news about Egyptian writing systems lately, including the Dutch Egyptologists deciphering the oldest known abecedary or alphabet like primer, 3,500 years ago. That's the same time period from Christ. You know, BC. Sher Potter from the Egyptian tomb excavated 20 years ago. The earliest alphabets go back to the 19th century BC. The alphabet is a different type of writing system than the hieroglyphs. So they're telling you that this hieratic is not the same as hieroglyphs. So stop saying that this is the shorthand or the simplistic form. If it's so simple, then why you don't know how to read it? Why you don't know that this means ha-hin? Ha-hin. Hanahin actually is what it is. And these pictures on the side of it is a depiction of what's being stated here. You know, this is actually Ra. This is the R. This is the divider between it. This is Yah, or Wahya, or Ria, you know, as some would say. You know, this is H-A-R. That's another divider there. And then this is actually A put, Api, Tapi is what we actually come to. This is the Nasut, you know, symbol, you know, which they say is N. That's another measure. This is actually MW in hieratic, and this is actually NA. So this is Munah. I got to go and look at the definitions to pull out the words, you know, but I'm just giving you, you know, the different answers. This is kind of cut out a little bit. This is H, you know, and this is Hawknine, Hawkeye. This is Ib, you know, the heart. You know, this sign I'm still looking for. You know, I got to go back. It's not one that I'm familiar with. You know, and the phallic symbol is up under that, but you don't have to go there. So You know, this is also a breakdown. A lot of this right here is the same letter, like T, N, T, N. This is D, a T. This is G. You know, this is D. This is A, A. I can identify. This is I or Y, B, D again. This is Y here. You know, so though I can recognize these letters, I have to go back into this to really make sense out of what's being said. But I know the methodology on how to do this. So this is the Kepler beetle. This is the symbol of when somebody passed for them and they died. This look like the jug, like the little jar jug type of thing. I want to say this is normally depicted. You know, I forgot the exact name of it, but I actually dealt with these before. It's a lot of glyphs you have to learn. You know, the characters you have to learn in order to become immersed in this. You know, and I've been doing my research on becoming better and better as time comes, but they ain't been doing this. You know what I mean? And so I got that from here too, by the way, because there's actually, I do have a connection right here to the drawings for those who don't know better, and they think that this is just being made up. These are the links, you know, where this is coming from. And it says first written record of Semitic alphabet from the 15th century BC found in Egypt. 3,400 years. This is why I tell you I don't get caught up in the Champollion. But some sources say 3,500, some say 3,400. You know, that's 100 years off, but I ain't gonna trip on that right now. But you know, they say this is the oldest alphabet. So if you ask me, this is a primer. So this limestone flake is what they use to teach with. So basically, if they was trying to use it, you could erase this easy. So that's why when they wrote on papyri, they had a perfection of what they would be right. Because you can't erase papyri, but they use this like we use chalkboards in the modern time. You know, so they use this to practice writing on. You see what I'm saying? That's what they did. So, you know, it's talking about the newly deciphered Egyptian symbols, 3,400 year limestone ostracon. You know, that's what it's called, an ostracon, from Luxor's tomb of Seneferi. It says, appears to be the first written evidence of the ABC letter order of the early Semitic alphabet, according to the University of British Columbia Egyptologists. In his article, a double abecedary, you know, that's the HLM, you know, H, and the ABGD, abjad. That's the double abecedary. Halam and abjad are ABGD on the TT99. That's the attested source for this ostracon. Look it up yourself. None of this has ever been refuted as being false. So this is, you know, being accepted by all the people. This is the alphabet chart of the ancient Egyptians, you know, as far as evidence that they taught in hieratic. This picture is a thing, but this is the actual word referring to the things that you see here. You see what I'm saying? That's the difference between what they talking about. So I also had another one right here. This is another link to the same information. You know, you can go out here and look this stuff up. World oldest abecedary. You see? Oldest alphabet. Same pictures. You see what I'm saying? Come on, man. Stop playing. You know? And there's a couple of links that go there. Them ain't the only ones. I had one more. You know? Because that's how we were cited if we were dealing with trying to show them the source. See it? The earliest known alphabet chart, the cipher. So when I ask you what the oldest chart at and show me one, you're going to have to show me one. Just like I just showed you this hieratic one, you got to show me an old pictorial chart that's showing the same methodology of Champollion. That's the only way you're going to be able to shut me up. Show me the same letters that Champollion created for his Ptolemaic methodology. Show it to me as created by the ancient Egyptians. I just showed you a hieratic, and that date all the way back 3,500 years ago. That's way before Champollion come up with that garbage he come up with. Now, who gonna check me? I done showed my proof. I done cast, now you cast. Okay, I see nobody never came up in here. So all is well, family. You know, we're gonna go ahead and shut this demonstration down. You feel me? But hey, you already know what time it is, man. You know what I mean? So I gotta go. I gotta go out with my trike. I gotta go out with my trike. I gotta close out with my trike, man. From my brother Nikolai Giovanni. Holy ground. Love that trike, man. So I'm gonna close this demonstration out. And y'all let them know what time it is. Next time they ask y'all and they go to talk about this language and they ain't talking about the hieratic, tell them they don't know what they talking about. Tell them they don't know what they talking about. Stop it. Stop playing. Let's see, I may have to do it this way here. Sometimes that thing don't be catching like it's supposed to. You too, you over here playing again. Stop playing. I don't know why that thing do that sometimes. It don't play. Let me see. I'm gonna try. Let's see if it let it. Cause that's the short of it right there. I'm gonna let me play my song. Let me see if it'll play that. Yeah, this thing tripping. Wrong, something else. Yeah, they up to the nonsense tonight. But you know what? I got another way. Let me see here. I got that in front of me. Okay. There's more than one way to skin a Hyksos. Give me 1 second. We got another route we're gonna go. I want to hit my track. Let me see. Let me see.
Power on. The Bluetooth device is ready to pair. The Bluetooth device is connected successfully.
Yeah, that's it right there. There we go. So we'll run it through this route. I know you can hear it this way. I'm gonna stop sharing my little sound on here though, because it may block it out. You know. But yeah, y'all gotta check that brother out, man. I like listening to the brother. You know, he got some real inspirational music. Let's see here. turn that down a little bit. Okay. There we go.
Wix gives you the power of AI to build the website you need. Never been a slave, only been a king. Looking at the fire, speaking from a tree. Yeah. Never been a slave, only been a king. Looking at the fire, speaking from a tree. Yeah. Deep in the valley. I'm close to the mountain. I see fire from I am that I am. Stepping on holy ground. Never been a slave, only been a king. Headed to the pyramids built with a force that's supreme. Enemies, slick dust, always talking hits her. Holy, sick burn. Keys to the throne owned by the king. Yahweh, Yah bless Giovanni, sonship, firefall, sun kiss. Led by the light, real gift. Added to the night, vision shift. Promise to the king, sonship. Sovereign is the king, lift the head, see. Traveling around, but the Kemetian of the king. Like to sit down, climbing up the mountain, I can feel his presence higher with the praise. Down power from a change with a real gift, soul, mighty body, spirit, purpose from the womb. Blessings fill the room, peace given to you, seeing doom. Purpose feel true. Fire speaking, I'm a leader from a tree. No shoes, just peace. Speaking to the Lord, how to free. Deep in the valley. I'm close to the mountain. I see fire from I am that I am. Stepping on holy ground. By stepping into my presence, you'll start seeing visions and dreams. As I yard this word, believer prophet was born year 83. As Moses led Israel by the side of the cloud and fire by night, let my prophet lead you into the future. Yes.
Yes, sir. Peace and love, family. Y'all already know what time it is, man. Shimo Tepu, Uncle Ajet Sanev, life, health, and prosperity be upon you all. And y'all already know what time it is. We're going to keep bringing the truth. So y'all keep, coming to get a little piece of this information. So follow us, like, share, and subscribe, and keep your mind and your hearts open that the ancestors may open up the way. Gratitude.